EAGLES, Eagles.
Hey, what is up? What is up? Look at Derek Gunn. There he is. I'm Rob Ellis. He's Derek Gunn. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Happy Monday, Gunner. How you doing?
I don't enjoy watching Philly games anymore. And you're the reason.
Me? What did I do? Was I out there doing all that stuff yesterday?
No, but because of your passion for this team and your emotions, when the team loses, I'm always thinking, I wonder if Rob's on the edge right now. I wonder what Rob is doing. I wonder if Rob has jumped off the kitchen table, hard landing on the kitchen floor. Yeah, you've tainted my Phillies viewership, you know. And I'm looking at some of the comments before we came on. You said, look, you see what Mr. Taz put up there? Also, Rob cursed Trey Turner off the team already.
Oh, you'll be getting that. Don't worry. Yeah.
And let's see.
The Orioles lose to the Pirates. The Phillies just the Steelers of baseball, playing down to the competition. So, Rob, please correct. Yes, I hear you. How does Thompson take a pitcher out? 73 pitches.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. All the above. All right. So, a lot going on. Right? A lot going on. And by the way, happy Kelly Green Monday, everybody. Happy Kelly Green to everybody who celebrates. I know you do, Gunner. What's up, Jake? What's up, Stoutland University Chancellor? What's up, Mo? Bird Gang. Yes. As we saw, Mr. Taz, everybody checking in. We appreciate you. Yes. Gunner, they began lining up at 3 a.m. outside of Lincoln Financial Field today to get a glimpse. Tone, let's show the folks what they were lining up for here. They give you a little taste of what we're talking about here with these uniforms, because they are, I got to tell you, they are pretty sweet. There's Jalen Hurts in his Kelly Green. All right, so let's look what else we have. Bradbury, that looks sharp. It is, with the silver pants. There's Jake Elliott doing his thing right there. Number 4. Oh, look at Landon Dickerson, that handsome fella. In his 69 jersey is John Runyon. Oh, Josh Sweat. Okay. What do you think? Are you liking him or not?
It's a nice alternate.
Skinny Batman. Sorry.
Huh?
Skinny Batman.
It's a nice alternate I can see for once a year. Mm-hmm. And I understand the affection a lot of Eagles fans have with this jersey. It brings back a lot of great memories, a lot of great players wore that jersey. But to me, it looks like the type of jersy you will wear on Christmas Eve. You know, like a Christmas Eve game, a Christmas Day game.
Yeah, it's an alternate.
Yeah, you know. I don't like the old school looking white numbers on it. It should be more like a prominent like black trim around it or something like that. It's okay. I'm not going to rain on your parade. I know how you feel about it.
No, I like it. I told you, I like their normal uniforms, but this as an alternative, I think it's nice. I think it's nice. Look at Avonte Maddox. He's ready to go. BG, come on. I like it.
It's okay.
There's my yep.
Look,
a little that football is with my Lotta. It's incredible.
Hey, look, so Dope King says, "Hey Rob, I got you a Sippo's Kelly Green jersey."
That's good. That'll be kindling.
Let me put it like this.
Yeah,
I would not be camping out at 3 a.m. to buy a jersey.
It was unbelievable. It literally looked like back at what you used to see back in the day for like concerts. Or how people would we used to see it at the Wells Fargo Center when we worked down there, Derek. We would, I don't know about you, I'd pull in the morning and there'd be little tents up and all this other stuff. There were lines wrapped around at the link, and everything was going fast and furious, man, at the team store. It was insanity in there. It looked like it was a game. It looked like people were waiting to get in to get entrance to go to a game. That's what it looked like.
Does that jersey, when you look at that jersey, does it define intimidation to you? No.
I don't know. I mean, look, they wore that arguably during their best defensive period as an organization with Reggie and Jerome, and Clyde and
how many years ago was that?
Golick, 30 years. Yeah, it was 30 years ago.
Let me address something here. Somebody said, look, Spanish Phil said, better than the Green Bay throwbacks. I agree. The Green Bay throwbacks are atrocious. What they wore as throwbacks are atrocious. I agree. You're not going to get any argument from me.
Yeah.
There are very few throwbacks that I've really liked, to be honest with you, in any team. D-Gun, you may be the master of the grill, but your taste in fashion is trash. Hey, that's a matter, Mr. Taz. Look, we see eye to eye on a lot of things, but that's your opinion.
Yeah.
See, Chris D uses the mature, responsible approach. You see what she says there?
With D-Gun, that color is just not intimidating enough.
See?
Hey, look,
that's why Chris D and I are like right here. She gets it. All these other people taking offense to my. I didn't say I disliked them. I just said, all of you. You know what? That's your opinion. I have my opinion. You have your opinion. I understand. How many times do I have to say it? I understand your affection. All of you hardcore, long withstanding Eagles fans, I understand your affection for the Kelly Green. I get it. To me, it's like, okay, all right. Let me ask you this, Mr. Hardcore Philadelphia fan.
Yes, sir.
Would you have stood in line endless hours to get this jersey?
No, I would not have stood in line. No.
Okay. All right.
No, I like it. I would not have stood in line, though. I mean, and props to the people who did that. Look, only in this city could you see something like that. Honest to God. What other fan base would have done that?
Maybe a few. Maybe if you're not many. See, Tone, D-Gun sounds like a flat out hater. You know what, Tone? You just keep doing what you're doing back there. Let me worry about what I'm doing here. Agree to disagree, Gigi. Yeah, okay. D-Gun, speed getting canceled in Philly. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, as I said before, I really like their uniforms. I like the regular uniforms. I like the black that they went to last year with the
I love that black with the green trim.
Yeah, so like if I get the regular jerseys with you can have like up to 3 or 4 alternates, right?
Right.
So if you go regular, you mix in the black and you mix in this, I'm good, man. That's a nice mix of uniforms.
There you go.
You know?
There you go.
Yeah, you're going to see everything represented. Kelly Green, the black, the regular, the white, whatever. You're going to have a nice mix, man. And look, they're smart. They crushed it. They're going to crush it around the holidays, right? There's a Christmas game. Everybody's going to be decked out in their gear. You know that. I mean, it's going to be a monster. So I think it's good. When I was a little kid, it was like Ron Jaworski and those guys, and they didn't wear that color.
Sure.
Then when I became, I was like around 11-ish, they went to those, or 12. They went to those. And then, it was that until Jeffrey Lurie took this thing over and they went into that sort of 3D logo and then the midnight green, et cetera. But no, look, I mean, I think it's great. If it's something when you're a fan, you're supposed to get excited about things. You're supposed to be into it. You're supposed to feel a part of it.
Absolutely.
And if all those folks who bought their gear today are proudly walking around sporting it, that's great civic and team pride. I think it's cool, man. I like it.
Look, this is a part of their history, a piece of their Americana in pro football. I get it. You know what? Go for it. Enjoy it. Embrace it. Mm-hmm. It's been a long time coming. How many years have they been talking about bringing back the Kelly Green when we had to sit with our hands under our backsides and watching other teams bring their throwbacks back and stuff like that? And we keep hearing the Eagles are going to do it. The Eagles, they needed approval from the league. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. Finally, it's here.
Uh-huh.
I get it, man. It's like Christmas on July 31st for a lot of people. I get that.
Right. Yes. And then you get
power to you.
You get a little less than 5 months advance to get all your Christmas orders in and your
Yes.
Hanukkah orders and all everything else that everybody celebrates. Good for you.
See, like Tone said, hey man, I just order online.
Right.
Well, we live in a day and age where you can order everything online. You know me, I'm not a big fan of ordering online.
Right.
Especially watching my wife, how much stuff she orders online and how many returns I have to make either to Kohl's or UPS or FedEx. I'm not a big fan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan of online shopping. You know me, I like to get out. I want to feel it. I want to touch it. I want to see it. Because a lot of times what you're looking at in the picture in terms of size, color, shape, it's not the same when you get it in actual.
That's true. I'm amazed at people who will order like sneaks or shoes. That's a dangerous game.
Yeah, man.
You got to try sneaks and shoes on. I don't.
Yes,
I'm with you on that.
Like I said, with my size foot, dude, there's very few sneaks I wear that are comfortable. That's why Nike is my favorite because it fits comfortable more so than all the other ones. But you know, I'm not a big on anything that I need online. I go to either my daughter Tina or Trish. Hey, can you guys order me this? You know, and when I order stuff, it's like a light fixture or something like that. You know, I'm not ordering. I don't order clothing online, shoes online, you know, stuff like that.
I'll do I would do a t-shirt or like a hoodie or something like that, but pants or shoes or any kind of shoes, no way.
No
way. Ain't happening. All right, here's the question. We do our Eagles question every day. Let's throw this one out there. Would you, and I know where you stand, you know where I stand, we know where Tone stands. Would you camp out overnight for team gear or merchandise? Could be Eagles, could be whatever your team is, Phillies, blah, 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 blah. I'd tell you, Father Sean brings us the Phillies light blue, I think are badass. I love the Phillies light blue.
With that red stripe?
Yeah, I really like those.
That powder blue.
Yeah, they were the away unis from back in the day. Why didn't they do vintage pinstripes? I don't know. It's a good question. I think the Phillies, I like the Phillies. Phillies are pretty traditional with the road grays and white pinstripes, which are pretty sweet. I actually really like the Sixers uniforms now that they went back to the red, white, and blue. Back Iverson's time, they had the black design. Flyers they went sort of back more to the burnt orange this year, whereas they haven't really changed that logo, which is good. I think it's a pretty traditional, strong logo, so they haven't changed much either, which I'm good with. Yeah, so we'll put it out there. I mean, how many of you did anybody, let's start with that. Did anybody overnight into this morning camp out? Did anybody get out there? Has anybody been to any of the pro shops, the Eagles pro shops, which are in Lancaster, South Philly at the stadium, and or Cherry Hill? I believe it's Cherry Hill where they all are. Has anybody done it? So Nathan says, last time I camped out was Star Wars Episode 1. What a letdown. All right, that's pretty good. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not camping out for anything. No. In all the years that I've been a sports fan, from the time that I was a little kid to the multitude of years I've been in this industry, you know, it's funny. My wife bought me one of those Brett Favre replica jerseys many years ago. Like, it's not even it's like with the mesh, the nylon mesh with, you know.
Yeah.
And I've worn it maybe a couple of times. I'm just not a jersey person, but I'm not standing in line. I mean, people stand in line, tickets,
right?
Opening of a new restaurant, fashion. I'm not standing in line for nothing or nobody. Thank you. No.
Yeah. Most people saying no so far. Gigi says he would if he lived there. If he lived in the area, he would. But most people saying no. I already have 3 M. Reyes. I already have 3 Hertz jerseys. I need to get another LOL.
Oh my goodness. How many Hertz jerseys can one person have, man?
I'm with like Father Sean already has this Kelly Green for back day. I'll get it when it calms down. Yeah, I'm with you. Like I would let it simmer a little bit where I can easily get in the store where the price may come down a touch. Yeah. That's always, you know, slow and steady move. But
here's the thing: the price is not going to come down until like the off season.
True, after Christmas. Probably.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Now you may get a slight discount if they need to make a final push just to make the numbers look good for the year ends. You may get a discount for Christmas holiday season.
True.
Maybe. True. But if these things go as hot as people anticipate they will, they're not going to bring the price down. Why would you?
Yeah. Terry's hardcore. No grown man should ever wear another grown man's name on his back. Oh, that's funny.
Dude, I can't even tell you how many game jerseys I think. I have both. I have 2 Brian Dawkins game jerseys, one from Philly, one from when he was with Denver.
Right.
Those are actual game jerseys he autographed for me. I'm never going to wear them.
Right.
I'll frame them, but I'm never going to wear them because of what it meant.
Yeah.
I have a hockey jersey. I have a Flyers hockey jersey. But that's an autographed jersey, and I'm not wearing that. I have the Brett Favre one that sits there, probably the moths have had a field day with that one over the years. Let's see. I tell you what I did. Back when I lived in Pittsburgh, back then it was a big fad to wear baseball jerseys like every day. I did have a bunch of those like from the old Negro League.
Yep.
Those kind of jerseys.
Yeah.
Just to wear them out a lot, going shopping to the mall. They were really stylish and fashionable.
Yep.
I wore a lot of those. I have maybe 3 or 4 different ones of those, like the Pittsburgh Crawfords and a couple of other teams like Kansas City Monarchs, teams like that, because of the color and the style.
Yeah.
But when it came to football jerseys, which is, my first love, I've never openly worn a football jersey out anywhere.
No kidding. Yeah. That's interesting. I did when I was a kid, but I haven't lately, in a long time. In fact, like I said, I'm more like a t-shirt, hoodie.
So that's me.
Yeah, that's more kind of my.
You know what else I like, Rob? I like wearing the baggy sweatpants.
Yeah.
My wife has forbidden me to wear baggy sweatpants. She made me buy new. She said I look like an old frumpy man wearing baggy sweatpants. You didn't hear her. She just went, ew.
Tighter is in. The joggers, yes.
Oh, yeah, I had to be on Births 365 this morning, so I grabbed a pair that I bought recently from Costco. I shouldn't say recently, but back in the winter, February, March, from Costco. They're called joggers. Thank you, dear. They're called joggers, right? And they're slimmer, have the zipper pockets on the side. She goes, now, those are the only ones you're allowed to wear. Now, wait a minute. First of all, why does she get to determine what I want to wear if it's comfortable for me? I don't tell her what she can wear.
Happy wife, happy life, Derek.
Look, I never tell her what she can wear.
You know that better than anybody. All right. You know that.
Right.
Tone says you old heads got to swag it out. Can't just wear your jersey with slacks and Sperry's, fellas.
See, Rob, there should be limitations in anything in life.
Yes.
We all have suggestions, but if I said, but hon, I feel comfortable in these, she should say, you know what? Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
He said, no, you look frumpy in them. I'm like, what?
Well, to me, like, if you're doing what we do,
I'm telling the truth. I mean, she wants me to look slimmer, sleeker in them. She said, I'm making her look bad. I'm not making you look bad. I'm just sharing information.
I think if you go out, that's different. Like if you're just sitting in front of your computer, whatever's going on below the waist, wardrobe wise, who cares? Like, what I mean? That's the way I look at it.
No, but see, I used to wear them out all the time. The frumpy, the big baggy ones.
That's out now. That's out. You got to go sleeker. It's a sleeker look now, Derek.
But you feel
joggers, tighter.
You feel restricted. Yes. Don't you feel restricted?
I don't love the trend necessarily. But I adhere to the trends, but I don't love the trend.
I will say though, they look good, but
it looks better.
Made me look
better
slimmer.
look.
And I can use anything that help me make me look slimmer. But
here's part of the problem. Part of the problem now is the super short shorts for men are coming back in.
You'll never see me in those.
That's a problem. You'll
never see me in those. That will never happen. No. That's like back in the 80s. Remember the NBA uniforms back in the 70s and 80s?
Oh, dude, I don't even know how they fit in those things.
I don't either.
We're slowly creeping up to that, and that ain't good.
See, I like the 90s into the 2000s or longer, baggier, shorts. I like those.
So do I.
Fitting, you know what I'm saying? See, that's me right there.
Yes, I agree. Yes. So apparently nobody really hit the who live in the area at least hit the pro shops today, and nobody would camp out. So most people wouldn't, at least.
See, somebody we sped past it. Somebody said, people camping out at 3 or 4 in the morning. Don't they have jobs? I don't know. Maybe they work overnight shifts. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't. Maybe they can go in late. Maybe they work from home. Maybe they just take the day. They have vacation days built up. I'm not sure. I find myself asking that question a lot. Like, doesn't this person have something else to do? But maybe not. I don't know. Who knows? It's all good.
The only thing I can never get into was like what was it? The early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, when all the younger people would wear the oversized jacket with the oversized pants. I'm like, why? What fashion statement are you making here?
I don't know.
Jackets 2 sizes too big, especially in the winter, like the parkas. I'm like, what are you hiding? It's like you're dressed like you can put 3 or 4 people under this attire. I mean, what are you getting out of this?
I don't know, man. I don't know. We're all slaves to the trends, right? I mean, that's all it is. But yeah, it was a pretty wild scene though outside of there. And man, the Eagles, the NFL, if there was ever any question that the NFL isn't just a license to print money, man, oh man, right? I mean, just look at today.
Dude, think about how many entities like the NFL that just come up with an idea and accidentally print money. The NFL doesn't even have to try to print money. I mean, it's a great concept. People buy the jerseys. Then whoever came up with the concept, let's implement the throwbacks. Look how many years and then now over the last several years, the Thursday night games have the more vibrant colored jerseys. The jerseys that whatever they're wearing, their colors pop out even more so for Thursday night games.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like 4 different generations of jerseys now that people are buying. And the NFL is like just sitting back like this.
Cha-ching.
Money's just rolling in.
Yes.
They can do no wrong.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, look, it's good for the people that they can, get whatever they want. And if you got the bread, do it. I don't fault anybody. If you got it, hey, go for it. That's really the bottom line. All right. So a couple things besides the Kelly Greens, and we'll get to the Eagles in a second, and we'll give you some camp observations and all those kind of things. Boy, what you talk about, and we're going to get into this heavy later. The storylines in the NFL, Derek, there's a million of them. Like, and again, I'll say that the beauty of the Eagles is it's no nonsense. It's just we're talking about what's happening on the field here.
Just football.
But it feels like almost every other team's got some craziness going on. I mean, between the soap opera in Indianapolis with Jonathan Taylor, Aaron Rodgers fires back at Sean Payton.
Yeah.
Guys still holding out, guys injured, no real updates. Like the Bengals tight-lipped on Burrow and what's going on there.
Where's Dalvin Cook going?
Right. Where's Dalvin Cook? Dalvin Cook taking in a Jets practice without a contract, just watching it. Like really weird stuff, man.
Yeah. But you know what? The NFL right now is like that soap opera. These are the days of our lives.
It really is.
That's what it is.
Yep.
The storylines are endless coming out of the NFL right now, man.
Yeah. There always are, man.
For people like us, you know.
Oh, I love it. I love it. There not a word of a complaint from me. I'll take every second of it. That's why I can't wait for camp to start. Even if there's not games, there's always something interesting going on. Always. But no, it's been amazing. So we're going to dig into all that, like I said, and the Phillies, because it was a true disaster over the weekend.
Do we have to talk about the Phillies? Do we really have to?
I don't know if I can get through it, honestly. I mean, the way that yesterday was an embarrassment to Little League. I mean, honest to God, like if you saw a group of 11-year-olds doing some of the things that they were doing with infield pops, with ground balls into the outfield, with base running, and not to mention the manager setting the tone from the jump by not having Bryson Stott in the lineup, the guy who's hitting .310 against left-handers, who's your best hitter. Like, I don't know. I mean, to me, it's almost like, we can beat the Pirates anyway. Oh, really? Okay. So what happened yesterday?
I can't remember the last time I sat through a baseball game and I'm chuckling like a kid because of all the foul-ups, bleeps, and blunders. I can't remember. And again, every time something happened, I'm like, oh, I bet Rob's on the edge of his seat right now.
I was doing post game yesterday on radio.
I'm sure you were.
It was, I was out of my mind. I'm sitting there in the studio with Al Morgani, and Al's just kind of shaking his head. I'm hot. I'm hotter than fish grease, as our buddy Barry used to say.
How do you go from in less than a week? You go from taking 2 out of 3 from the best team in baseball in Baltimore to losing 2 out of 3 to one of the worst teams in baseball in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's a reflection of the kind of team that they've been all year. And
what did I tell you on Friday? We were talking about, I said, Rob, moving forward, because it's late July, I can't get excited about this Phillies team because every day is a trial and tribulation with this team. Now, the fact that they got Washington coming up for 3 games, are you convinced they're going to beat Washington 2 out of 3 after seeing this mess they just pulled?
No. I mean, look, they're going into a huge this 4-game set in Miami is gigantic. I mean, it's gigantic because you're right there. It is so tight right now in the wild card. So I'll give you the standings right now, just in the wild card. So the way it sets up, you got the Giants are up 1 game. Milwaukee and Miami are tied at 47 and 49 is their record. Phillies are a half game back, 56 and 49. Diamondbacks, 56 and 50 are 1 game back. And don't look now, the Cubs are creeping.
Cubs are smart. Well, they finally lost yesterday, but the Cubs have won 8 in a row.
Yeah, they're creeping up. They're only 1 game back. So this thing is, or 3.5 back, excuse me. This thing is super tight here.
And it's going to be that way until the end of the season.
Yeah. And you may look back at a game like this, and it may cost you the playoffs, losing a game like this that you absolutely had.
And we're still sitting here waiting for to find out what the Phillies are going to do by way of a trade. The Marlins have already made moves to shore up their pitching staff.
Yeah.
You know, they've already strengthened their pitching staff, and we're still waiting to find out what this team is going to do. But again, how much can they do with the money they have invested in a lot of these guys? How much can they do?
Yeah, I know. All right, let's get it. Let's head it here. Let's go into some pretty heavy camp observations. What we've seen over the last couple of days, what it looked like yesterday. Today was a walkthrough, but we'll go through what went down yesterday. Who's looking good? Who isn't looking good? There's a lot of ground to cover when it comes to the Eagles. That's for sure. So don't go anywhere. That's Derek Gunn. I am Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Let's talk about Bravo Pizza of Havertown. Yeah, I've been going there since I was a kid. Bravo Pizza of Havertown's been family owned since 1985. It is a family feel. You got Alex and the entire crew in there. And they offer up 20 different styles of pizza with fresh food made every day. They have slices to go. They have the you name it, they'll make it, specialized pizza your way. Not just pizza, though. Fresh pasta, sandwiches, wraps, wings, salads, you name it. It's all there. Bravo Pizza of Havertown's also committed to the community. They have fundraisers for charities, for schools, for little leagues, where those proceeds go to each and every one of those organizations. You can follow them at the Bravo Pizza of Havertown on Instagram and Facebook for daily specials and promotions. They're at 1305 Westchester Pike in the Manoa Shopping Center in Havertown. 1305 Westchester Pike, Manoa Shopping Center, Havertown. Give them a call right now, 610-446-3810. 610-446-3810. Bravo Pizza of Havertown.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wild wood days.
score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, Birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer 3 major services. The first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
EAGLES, Eagles.
We're back. Thanks for hanging out with us. That's Derek. I'm Rob. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Let's hit the like button if we could, friends. All right, let's talk some Eagles, Derek. Camp observations. So day 3 was yesterday. They practiced in shells and shorts, and for about an hour and 35 minutes approximately. They had a walkthrough today. Tomorrow looks like it's going to be pads on tomorrow. By all accounts, Jalen Hurts very, very sharp. Has looked good on both deep balls, intermediary passes. Really anything getting out of the pocket. Pretty on the money so far. So it looks like he's hit the ground running. That's encouraging for sure.
Yeah, I think he was like 16 of 19 yesterday. A couple of touchdown passes. Great touch on his deep balls. That's all good to hear. The offense, it seems that it caught up, finally got their revenge. Since camp opened, we'd heard so much about defensive players that have looked very good. But it seems like the offense hit its stride yesterday, which is good to hear. But then again, that's what we expect. We expect this offense to be far ahead of the defense when they hit the ground running for real. Anytime you're implementing 7 new starters on a defense, whole new defensive coaching staff, 2 so-called defensive coordinators, it's going to take a while before things come together. Hopefully it comes together a lot sooner rather than later. But for the most part, except for the elevation of an offensive coordinator on the offensive side, everything remains intact over there in the right guard. But, when you're playing between 2 Pro Bowlers, the right guard position is not going to suffer no matter who's in that position. So I'm not surprised that the offense finally had it today.
Yeah, absolutely. So he looked good. But, again, take it for what it's worth. Mariota struggled, apparently. Again, understand they're working on things. I'm not one who looks at it as it's the end all be all. I wonder, Derek, I said this to you in watching, and I finished it off. I watched all the quarterback Netflix series.
Yep.
I didn't really love the way that ended in Atlanta for Mariota. I know he got his knee done and he felt like he was having issues with his meniscus, but it sort of seemed like he just left him in the lurch.
Go ahead and say it. I know you want to say the quit word. The quit word.
I don't know. And again, Arthur Smith was very careful not to bury him. But I guess as a backup, it's fine. But I do worry a little bit about where this guy's mindset is if football's his biggest priority. I do worry about that.
Well, I think from a human element, when you come out of college as this highly touted quarterback, this big time prospect, you go as high as he did in the draft. You have all the attributes. And let's face it, he was one of these guys also, these new age quarterbacks that can take off and run at any given moment, could run the read option. First few years in the league, it looks promising, but then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, starts to tailspin to the point where now he's a journeyman quarterback. And then you subject yourself to being on camera 24/7 for a series. You get your opportunity to start down in Atlanta on a team that's going nowhere and trying to find and build an identity, and all of a sudden, the rug's pulled out from under you. That's a little bit embarrassing.
Yeah.
Anybody, and like I told you before, without giving too much away, now you understand why he faded out of the series once it was announced that he was being demoted.
Yeah. It really became, it was some Kirk Cousins, but it became the Mahomes show for the last few episodes for sure.
I mean, imagine if that was you or your son, how you
I get it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, what else is he going to say? You want to hear him? Is he going to trash the team for making the decision? Is he going to suck it up and be the consummate team? Is he going to be forced to be the consummate team player on camera for the cameras? If he lets any type of negative emotion slip, can you imagine the backlash or criticism he's going to get for that?
Mm-hmm.
That was a trying time in his life. He's expecting a baby, and he's got to deal with this as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I hear you. We'll see. And again, if you're getting to your backup, you're generally in trouble if it's more than an extended period of time. Like if you get 2 or 3 games, that's fine. We've seen that the last couple of years with the Eagles, with Hurts going down, but it's a big deal. Anyway, he never developed as a passer the way that he needed to for the NFL.
Well, think about it like this also, Rob. Derek Carr is this prolific passer. He gets demoted the last few games with the Raiders. He didn't travel with the team. He stepped away from the team.
Yep.
And it was mutually agreed upon. Maybe you shouldn't be here so you're not a distraction.
Good point.
So that man's getting paid 7 figures to sit at home.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay.
Look, I think it's fair, but we'll see. We'll see if he picks up his game a little bit here.
I don't care what you do in life. When something's taken away from you, we all have moments where we pout, we're disappointed, we're mad, we're angry. We think through scenarios of, you know what, I should have told them this, or I should have said this, or maybe I should say this and let people know what's going on. But then when cooler heads prevail, you sit back and you say, you know what do I gain if I lash out verbally? Nothing.
Right.
Makes you look worse than the people who made the decisions to diminish your role.
It's not that I wanted him to lash out. I just, I don't know. I don't know that it was handled the best way, but I guess that's sort of sports now too. All right. Beyond that, receiver. Take it for what it's worth. Thus far, Quez Watkins has looked good. Now, I'll believe it when he starts catching big balls in the games. That's where I'm at. But all we can go off of right now is what's happening at camp. And so far, he's looked good. He's looked like he's gotten almost all the reps as the number 3 guy, and thus far has played well.
You want to know what I want to say about Quez Watkins right now?
Yes.
Next topic. Until I see it in a real game.
Drew Rosenhaus now. Next question. Is that
next question. That's it. Okay. Next question.
Okay.
I got to see it to believe it.
All right. So that's that. Now this is interesting. You may not be familiar with the name, and he's not exactly what you would call a household name, but Joseph Nagata. He's a receiver who apparently is really looking good thus far and is kind of outshining, at least in the early going here, Olamide Zaccheaus. So he's a receiver out of Clemson. He's good size, 6'3", 217, rookie out of Clemson, undrafted. But so far he's looked very good, at everything, whether it's deep routes, intermediate routes, any of those kind of things. But here's the thing. Zaccheaus has the experience. He's done it in the NFL. He had a pretty good year last year in Atlanta, speaking of, where the quarterback situation was sort of up and down. So just a name to keep in mind, Joseph. It's Ngata, Nagata. Just keep the name in mind. Somebody you'll be seeing in preseason games, at least. That we know. Okay. All right. Yeah. You know how I feel about training camp and all that preseason. Okay. I'm just giving you who looks good, who doesn't. All right. This is interesting too. So Juergens is getting all the reps on the first team at the right guard spot. This is clearly his job to lose. The only way we're going to see Steen, I think, is if Juergens looks awful. I'm talking about non-injury. Is if Juergens looks awful. That's it. I mean, this is Juergens' gig. But as much as we talk about Juergens right now holding that position, it's still etched in the back of my mind when Sirianni said he's the starting right guard for now, which means there obviously is room for somebody else to move in. Or to me, it sounds like maybe they're hoping somebody else can move into that role so they can put Juergens back as that definitive backup to Jason Kelce to keep him fresh in case something would happen to Kelce. Mm-hmm. You're right. It's his job to lose. But when the head coach says he's our starter for now, he covers all areas. He didn't tell you, hey, he's my starter. He said, hey, that's today. Tomorrow could be another story based on who gets caught up to speed. Yeah. We know they like bigger body offensive linemen. We know that. Mm-hmm. And with Juergens being 6'3" compared to Steen being 6'6",
there's a vast difference there. But Jurgens has earned that right to step into that role.
Mm-hmm.
No question about it.
Yeah.
And I think he can hold it down. But even if he starts, what do they really want Jurgens to be for them? Is he that security blankets like for Linus in case the future Hall of Famer gets hurt? What would happen if Jurgens starts and all of a sudden you have Jurgens and Kelsey hurt at the same time? Now, they obviously have a contingency plan for a third center, but when you get to that third center, not quite as fluid as one of those two guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. It's going to be interesting too. Let's say Jurgens, this is a good problem, by the way, but let's say Jurgens plays great this year at guard and then Kelsey retires. Would you keep him at guard? Well, I know I'm getting way ahead of myself, but hypothetically, it's kind of interesting to think down the line a little bit how that would look. But we'll see. Look, I trust their ability to develop these guys once they get them in there. I trust Stoutland, and I trust the guys who are playing next to him to sort of maybe make up if there are some mistakes made along the way to make up. So look, I think everything will be fine, whomever it is in that spot. I really do. Also interesting, Jordan Davis says he's at about 340, 345, which is where he was last year. They said the difference between this year and last year for him, even though there isn't any specific weight loss, he said his conditioning is night and day. He said what he did the entire offseason, even though he didn't lose weight, there was a lot of cardio, a lot of agility. What he said, a lot of moving is the way he explained it, not moving, from one place to another, like constant movement. And he said that he can now handle the reps a lot better than he was able to handle them last year.
To be honest, I honestly thought, with the off-season conditioning and stuff like that, I thought he would be closer to like 330, to be honest. And he said he's 340, 345. That's not a 3-down lineman, man. Right. I don't care what kind of shape you're in. That's a lot of weight to carry, especially when you're laying up against other guys, offensive tackles. And, that's a situational player. And maybe that's what they want him to be, is that, like a Vince Wilfork, was to New England for so many years.
Phenomenal that way. Yeah.
He was phenomenal that way. He was a situational player. Maybe that's what they want him to be, considering all the speed and versatility they have surrounding him,
Yeah, absolutely. Look, if that's, I'm not saying he's going to be Vince Wilfork, but if he turns out to be some semblance of that or version of it, he will have been worth it, because what he's going to do to help others, if that's the case, occupying guys, just stuffing everything up in the middle, almost being like a Hollis Thomas type. If he ends up being that kind of guy, that's very valuable. It's not overly glamorous or spectacular, and his numbers aren't going to be jumping off the paper at you or the screen at you, but you need that in that league badly.
When you look at the guys that are that size, the Haloti Nadas who played the game, the Tony Siragusas, the Vince Wilforks, their job is to eat up space, control gaps, command double teams so somebody can slip through the gap and be a disruptive force. But you have to be able to get some push. You have to be able to split the gap occasionally and get in the quarterback's face. If he's a situational player but not making some kind of play, then people are going to come down on him. And that's understandable. When you draft a guy that high, when you're the 13th pick in the draft and you're this phenomenal talent, and we understand that from the D tackle position, it's a thankless job. You don't get a lot of the individual accolades. There's very few. There's no Aaron Donalds across the National Football League, and Aaron Donald is not big for a D tackle. He's built to be a DN, but he's so exceptional at the D tackle. Everybody else is compared to him. Nobody else is Aaron Donald. That's a one of a kind. Yeah. But for Jordan Davis, with that type of girth, he better be able to do something more than just stand up straight off the line of scrimmage and maybe consume two blockers. You've got to do something that gets you mentioned or noticed periodically on a field.
I agree. Look, he's got to be a run stuffer. He's got to create push in the middle. And Anthony, says Hollis Thomas was Jordan Davis top 15 pick. I know where Hollis Thomas. I understand that. Yeah. My comparison was body size. What he was being asked to do is potentially what Jordan Davis is going to be asked to do. Obviously, Let's not take everything like totally literally, please, folks.
Exactly.
I'm hoping that he can have the kind of impact so what Hollis did a lot of times, he was very good in the run game, but what he was also good at was he would get a push up the middle, which is the toughest thing for a quarterback, to have a rush coming into your face. That also allowed guys like Hugh Douglas and others to come from the end and tee off. That's what I'm hopeful he is, at least now. Like, do I want to see him get you 5-6 sacks a year on top? Of course I do. And I'm not trying to lower the bar for him. I would just like to see at least something. I mean, last year it was, I get it, in his defense, he was hurt a little bit, but now you need to show what you can do here, in my opinion. I think we're going to see his running mate, Jalen Carter,
right,
like, come off the screen. I think he's just going to be freaking awesome.
If you can get a D tackle who can get push, it messes up a quarterback's drop, whether it's a 5-step drop, 7-step drop, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
You force them off this spot. They can't just sit in the pocket like they want to and plant their foot and deliver. You're going to force them to throw on the run more. You're going to force them to make more off balance type throws. That's what the upper echelon D tackles are able to do in the National Football League. Can Jordan do that at 340, 345? That's what the Eagles are hoping. But again, we got to see it, And if he's going up against second and third string offensive linemen in preseason games, you're not really getting a true gauge in terms of what he can and cannot do, because 9 times out of 10, those guys are going to either be your backups or looking for work elsewhere when it comes down to definitive cut down day in September.
Yep. So that's the case with Jordan Davis. He's playing in a lot of 4-man fronts. So Sidney Brown starting to make a little bit of an impact. Played very well yesterday. You're seeing them sort of work him in a little bit for Terrell Edmonds. He's a guy. Here's what it feels like for me with Sidney Brown. Feels like by about week 7 or 8, we're having, or maybe even a little bit earlier, we're having that conversation, Derek, where, hey, should he be playing more? Hey, should he be starting? Feels like it's going to take a minute, but he's already starting to show you some good signs here early, and when the potential that he has, because he definitely is a guy who has a nose for the ball. That's for sure.
Yeah, but if Reed Blankenship is playing up to expectation, there's not going to be a conversation, nor is there a need to have that conversation.
Well, it's more with Edmonds than Blankenship.
Well, what if Edmonds playing up to expectation? Then there's really not a conversation.
Well, obviously, if those two are both playing really well, he's not going to correct the lineup. I'm saying I think somebody may be, maybe not playing in their A game, and that's where he gets a shot.
Okay. Well, you know how we are. We see a shiny new toy.
Yep.
We want that shiny new toy in there, no matter what's going on. But if they're holding it down on the back end, he's probably going to get his playing time, as Nakobe Dean did, more so in special teams, more so than in between the stripes on the snaps, and that's understandable, But again, I think it's imperative we watch this safety position closely, because I can't say it enough. I've said it all off season since he's been signed here. Mike Tomlin doesn't just let defensive players go in their prime for a reason, without a reason.
That I agree with you, especially a guy who knows the system very well.
Yes,
like he does.
Yes.
So that's one, and then the other one is from a linebacking standpoint. Nicholas Morrow is struggling in coverage. Again, take all of this with a grain of salt, because it's camp and they're working on stuff. But he's struggling in coverage apparently, and that's where you could see some Christian Ellis worked in there. Nakobe Dean hasn't been bad, but he hasn't really flashed. He's just been kind of quiet. But he hasn't, it isn't one of those things where you're noticing him in a bad way. He's just been kind of quiet in general. So, that both of those spots, and that's another name. At least Christian Ellis showed it to you a little bit last year when he got some opportunities. It could be in there.
See, right now, I would imagine Nakobe Dean's head is swimming, because every day class is in session for him. You got an offense that's showing him different things, and I'm sure there's some guessing involved.
Yep.
So, if he makes a mistake, it has to be discussed. Why you should do this, or what did you see here? There's constant discussions with the coordinators, with the personnel. Exactly, why did you do this? What were you thinking? What do you think you saw? Here's what you do in those situations to audible out of it.
Yep.
Every day. And so I'm not surprised that he's been relatively quiet. He's got to grow into that role.
Yep.
I've said that time and time again. It's not that you can just plop him in there. I mean, TJ Edwards wasn't that player.
No,
TJ wasn't, TJ Edwards wasn't a player 2 years ago that he was last year.
Exactly. And that's the thing. You got to have some growth. Like people like JM, who said Goddard? Exactly, JM. Who said Goddard? Who said he's struggling just with Goddard? Did I say that?
Nope.
No. So let's try and not make our assumptions here. He's struggling with everybody, apparently, that comes his way in coverage. So it's not just Goddard. So just for what it's worth. Yeah, I mean, look, we'll see what ends up happening there. But the good news is Hassan Reddick back from the groin injury. Back. That's good. Get him out there, get him some reps, man. That's huge.
I don't think Reddick needs as many reps as he may get. I mean, when you talk about a groin injury, it's like a hamstring, it's like a calf strain.
Yep.
When you think you're feeling good, you get out there and all of a sudden you re-aggravate it. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows what Hassan Reddick can do. If there's one player on the field that doesn't need multitude of reps, it's Hassan Reddick. You know what his job description is. Yep. I would be overly cautious with this groin thing, because if he re-injures it, usually when you re-injure it, it's worse than it was initially. It takes you that much longer to come back from. Reddick doesn't need the reps.
Yep.
It's the younger guys that need to get the reps. Whoever's backing him up, those are the guys that need the Nolan Smith. Those guys are the guys that need the reps.
That can be a blessing in guys.
Yes, absolutely.
Those kind of guys. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, worry about it.
Oh no. You just want to make sure that he's good health-wise. That's all you're looking for, because there's a recurrence in those kind of injuries, man. That's why the Cincinnati's being so careful with Burrow here. To me, he doesn't even touch a practice field until prep for week 1.
Why should he?
Yeah.
You know what you're getting out of him.
Yeah.
He knows where he's supposed to be. If anything, you can learn all the calls you need to learn in the classroom.
Yep.
His job description, in a lot of ways, while it fits in the concept, is more individual than it is within the concept, because he knows when he's coming off that edge. He knows what he's up against. They know what his specialty is. There's no way I'd overuse him at this point. I don't need him until that first game against New England, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I'm with you. It's not even a thought. I would be uber. I think that's the Eagles' approach anyway. The Eagles are a very careful, smart organization when it comes to injuries. They're not forcing anything. No. Did you see the latest that people are have commented on? So apparently, Jalen Hurts screensaver. Have you seen this one?
Jalen Hurts screens. Oh yeah, I heard about that. Yeah,
it's him walking off with all the confetti coming down, and he's using it as motivation every single time. This is what we're digging in on now.
If he wants that constant reminder to motivate himself to be better in any way, fine. If he, some guys say, I want to forget about that as quick as possible.
Yeah.
If he wants that constant reminder of that feeling he had when he walked off that field in the grandest of moments, knowing that they had that game in halftime and let it slip,
yeah,
then more power to him.
I'm with you. I think it's great. And it's him. It's so on brand for him. It's not him sitting in his Bentley. It's him remembering that moment. I think it's everything that Jalen Hurts is all about.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a part of his persona. He is self-motivated. He's such a mature individual for 24, 25 years of age. He is the consummate leader on that team. The way the players rally around him is second to none.
Yep.
Whatever he needs to stay focused, to stay laser focused, to be better than what he was. And I don't know how much better he can be than what he was last year.
Yeah.
More power to him. I thought the more definitive picture would where he dropped the ball. If he wanted that reminder,
That's true.
But I'm saying if that image is etched in his mind, that feeling he had, that emptiness in his stomach he had when he walked off that field, knowing that they were so close of winning that Super Bowl in his second year as a starter in the National Football League, then use it to the nth degree.
Well, I think too, what the impact you're also seeing is with DeAndre Swift is exactly what we thought it was going to be. He's just been a demon out of the backfield catching passes. I think this is going to be a big part of this offense incorporated here. Just utilizing what skills you have. I mean, this is where you love having the ability to pound Penny and use Swift in space. and how effective that can be here, whether that's,
Yep.
a swing pass or whether that's, a pitch to him, whatever. It's going to really be difficult for defenses to key on anything here when you have this many different, options at running back.
Don't bottle up DeAndre Swift between the tackles. Yep. He's so dangerous once he gets out in open space. I would line him up in the slot.
Yep.
Hitch pass, middle screen, left screen, right screen. Let him get behind those big bodies and wiggle his way downfield. I think that's where he's the most effective.
Yep.
And I would also think that would lessen the body damage he could endure as well.
That's true.
Plain and simple.
Yeah. Yeah. And Penny wants to get down a little bit weight-wise from where he's been the last couple of years. Still wants to keep the power, obviously, but he thinks that may help him in sort of maintaining here. And hey, I'm all for it. If that, whatever he thinks would work best. Bradbury's had a thus far pretty good camp, which no surprise. I feel like he's just, second year sort of in this quasi system. I know it's a different coordinator, but they're playing the same sort of fundamental stuff. That's a biggie, man. I think Bradbury's going to be a monster this year.
I do too, and rightfully so. He's another one. He never had that chance when he was with the Giants, to get that close to winning it all.
Yeah.
And I think he's on a mission. He's come back here, signed that contract, could have got a bit more money in the open market, took lesser money because he knows there's unfinished business here. And he's with the team he's comfortable with. They have a great nucleus of players coming back. You got everything you need to have an opportunity to get back to the big game again. I expect him to be as consistent this season as he was last year.
Yeah, I'm with you. And look, I think that the big one for me is Slay. That's the one that I worry about just because of the way that he finished last year. And I don't know what that's going to look like, honestly. I don't know if he's a guy on the downside. He just got into a bit of a funk last year. He started off great, and then it was not great the rest of the way, including the playoffs.
Year older, hopefully a year wiser.
Yeah.
You wonder when he gets to that age, what is he now, 32, 33?
Yep.
His father time creeping up on him.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously the Eagles don't feel that way because they brought him back at a restructured deal.
Yeah.
And he was probably their best option compared to what was out there in the open market. That's understandable. They didn't want to use a high draft pick to pick another corner, obviously. And this team, notoriously they like to build from the trenches.
Yep.
And so, he's got one more shot in the sun to see if he can do it, and he's smart enough. There's nothing he should be able to not see, but can the mental mechanism kick in with that ability to where he can hold it down more consistently than he did just a season ago? And I think he knows that as well as anybody.
Mm-hmm.
He knows how he started compared to how he finished. So you have so many guys on this team that should be self-motivated because of what they did all season long and how it ended.
Yeah.
It just crashed at the most inopportune time.
No question.
I would say Slay will come back on a mission as well to kind of quiet the doubters out there, so to speak.
Absolutely. All right. You know what? Let's do this, Derek. Let's keep the football momentum going when we come back, because it has been an off season of running backs, and not in a good way, not in a they're getting paid way, in a weird, controversial, strange off season. And it got way weirder with the Jonathan Taylor stuff over the weekend. This stuff, is straight out of a soap opera. But between he puts it out there, he's unhappy. He meets with Jim Irsay in his big RV at camp, then comes out and throws the gauntlet down, and then the Colts respond. Let's dig into all of it when we come back. But he's not the only one. All right, so we'll dive into the running back situation in the NFL when we return. Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis, Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Let's talk about Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group, because finding the right person to trust with your finances can be a scary proposition, and I'm right there on the front of the line. I was for a long time, but found that right person with Jim, and I trust him with my finances as well as Principal Financial Group. Whether it's retirement planning, 401k review, insurance review, or you have a small business and you need help with your employee benefits, that's another resource that Jim can assist you with. I know personally I've entrusted my IRA, my 401k rollover with Jim, and I couldn't be any happier. You will be too. Give him a call. 610-996-4751. 610-996-4751. Or you could email him as well. Murray, Murray, .jim@principal.com. That's Murray.jim@principal.com.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Google TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
And the big story on Action News?
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, did you know I was the Mommy Slam Dunk Champion?
Really?
Yes, really don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, I go to left, fake a mom. Mama, go up, mama!
She did it.
Again?
You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis, Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network on this Monday, last day of July, Derek. We are heading into August. Yes, full bore, man. You know, the yesterday in this area, today, beautiful. I mean, just it's warm enough for your liking, but it's not the oppressive humidity. So it's still good for you, my man. Still got a little breeze and it's warm. It's nice.
I don't view 95 degrees as oppressive. I view it as soothing to the soul and to the skin and muscles. That's how I view it.
I like the warm, but 95 I could do without. Yeah.
Come on, man.
No, not that.
Oh.
Go out today. You'll see. It's perfect, man. I mowed the lawn early. It was great. It was great. I wasn't.
Hey, by the way, happy birthday to my son-in-law, Alex, today. We're going to celebrate this evening, you know. Yep. And as I told you last week, man, between July, August, and September, I go broke with birthdays in this family from kids to son-in-laws to grandkids.
Right.
And to a daughter, one of my daughters. There's like 6 or 7 between the dates of July 8th and September 2nd. We have like 6 or 7 birthdays. That's like, jeez.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, my son was yesterday. So happy birthday, Bobby E. Yeah, that's all good.
How old is Bobby now?
22.
He's getting up there.
I know, man. He had it was good. We went out Friday night. He had fun. He's doing good. All right. So a couple things. This is this is pretty interesting, right? So we know all the chaos, all the craziness that's been going on in Indy, right? And it's been strange. Zach Moss, their running back, broke his arm.
Yep.
All right, so that happened today. So let's rewind to what's been happening with Jonathan Taylor. Okay, we all know, unfortunately, he was a little bit banged up last year, but stud, et cetera. And Chris, thank you for the birthday wishes. I appreciate that. Thank you. So he's made it known that he like most running backs, I think he's entering the last year of his deal. He's unhappy with his contract.
Yep.
He's put it out there. So you remember Jim Irsay, the owner, made some comments about running backs, and then he backed off a little bit, saying it wasn't intended to be a shot at Jonathan, et cetera. So Jonathan Taylor and Irsay meet on Saturday in his, what'd you call it? A luxury RV? What was
luxury RV?
Like a Madden bus kind of thing. It was like that, right? Real big travel bus. So anyway, what emerges from that, usually when that kind of thing happens, everybody comes out and is like kumbaya, right? Everybody's on the same page and they're good. Yep. Not the case. Not the case. So it came out, as soon as he came out of that meeting, it really went public that he wanted out. He wanted to be traded. So then the Colts yesterday come out with this, or at least there's something leaked that they may put him. He was already on the physically unable to perform list because of the ankle issues that he had last year. That he has a back issue, and he may be put on the non-football injury list. So what that does is there's a difference between the PUP list, physically unable to perform, and the non-football injury list. The non-football injury list means the Colts aren't on the hook to pay him.
Nope.
If the injury happened away from the facility, away from their folks, their medical people. They're saying he hurt himself in the offseason, hurt his back. He's complaining of back pain, etc. Yesterday, Jonathan Taylor throws a tweet or an X out there where he says, no back issue. I don't know where your sources are, etc. So anyway, there's some kind of ugly impasse happening here. And it feels like, Derek, the Colts are trying to play hardball now with him and stick it to him and not pay him a darn thing. So I don't know where this thing's headed.
You know what? It can't get any uglier than what's going on in Indianapolis right now. And Jim Irsay, if I was a free agent, that's one team I would not want to play for.
Yeah.
That's one owner I would not want to play for. Even he could offer me $20 million more than anybody else, and I'll say no, thank you very much.
Yep.
Trying to survive in the NFL is tough enough, and when you got to play with a dysfunctional organization like that, there's no joy in playing the game. There's only frustration. They keep talking about they don't want to pay. Irsay doesn't want to pay. The running back is anymore.
Yep.
But they had no problem back in the day when Andrew Luck abruptly retired. He was able to keep over $24 million. They could have recouped that money.
Yep.
But no, they let Andrew Luck keep that, and he abruptly retired. Now, Jonathan Taylor's coming off an injury. 2 years ago, he was a rushing champion in the National Football League. He's considered one of the elite backs in the game, but your owner's already said, hey, you ain't worth it. You ain't worth that kind of money. And now you're going to try to backpack. Well, it wasn't a direct shot at them. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
You know what you said when you said it.
Yep.
It was well thought out when you said it. Now, because of public scrutiny, now you want to back off it. The damage has been done. If I'm Jonathan Taylor, why would I want to play for this man?
Yeah.
And on top of that, Rob, if this leaked from within the organization and they try to pull not paying him for the season and putting him on that list, number one, he loses accreditation for a full season in the NFL. Number two, the salary he's making now goes right back in the pot for next year.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, they still can franchise him next year.
Yeah.
So you're going to have the same issue that you're going through right now? Is that what you want?
Well, I think on top of it, and we were talking, when you and I were discussing this before the show, why would anybody want to go play for this guy? You get drafted, you're whatever. You don't have a choice. But why would any free agent or anybody who had any say in where they get traded want to go play for this man? I just don't understand it. There's ways to handle things. Like, I get it. Nobody wants to pay running backs anymore. I understand that. But the way that all this has gone down, and now you might be trying to get out from paying him even, what his salary is right now.
It's atrocious.
Whoa.
So you may have your feature back may not play for you. Your number 2 back, who was your second leading rusher, who averaged 4.8 yards a carry last year, is out a minimum 6 weeks with a broken arm. What are you going to do with the running game? Now you're going to get somebody off the scrap heap? If I'm a free agent, a veteran free agent sitting at home, hey, look, I don't care what you're offering me. I'm not interested in playing for that team. Especially because when if Jonathan Taylor came back, you're going to be an afterthought.
Right.
If I'm a free agent sitting out there, I want to go somewhere where I have a chance to play, to prove myself, to hopefully parlay that into a contract for the 2024 season.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going in Indianapolis number 1 just to hold down the fort until Jonathan Taylor either decides he wants to play or the organization decides that they want him to play. And I'm certainly not playing for Irsay. That's the last dude in the NFL right now. First, it was Daniel Snyder. Well, he's out of the league now. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, Irsay has jumped to the forefront of people you don't want any parts of.
Yeah,
I certainly, as a running back, waiting for somebody to call me. You might as well save your dime. Don't call me. I'd rather sit out the season and play for the Colts right now.
Yeah, and I look at it and I'm like, if I'm Shane Steichen, he was asked about it today, and he's like, Jonathan's dealing with something. I don't want to go there. It's like, man, this guy's got to. He's trying to break in a rookie quarterback who we'll talk about in a little bit, but he's also got to deal with this. I mean, you're talking about this guy, other than, I don't know, maybe Quentin Nelson, you can make an argument, the offensive guard, but Jonathan Taylor, when healthy, is arguably their best offensive weapon.
Yep.
That he likely won't be able to utilize either because he's not 100% healthy or all the contract stuff that's going on. How does Irsay, I guess the way I look at it is, what's his end game? Do you think you're making this situation better, worse? Even if you could have just calmed things down and gotten through the season with him on this contract, you could have figured it out in the offseason. Now you're already behind the 8 ball. Like, sure, could you go out and get Dalvin Cook or, Ezekiel Elliott, who's, on the back 9? I guess you could, but it's not better than Jonathan Taylor, in my opinion.
No. And if I'm Jonathan Taylor, I'm looking at what I'm surrounded by as a football team. Probably going to have a rookie quarterback in my huddle. At the very best, a journeyman veteran in Gardner Minshew. My receiving core is okay. Michael Pittman Jr. is okay. But outside of that, we don't have anything much. The offensive line is okay. Am I really, really excited about the prospects of what's to come with this team moving in another direction? Why don't you just trade me, get the draft picks, or see what you can get back at another position you could possibly need?
No doubt.
You're going to have a guy who's a feature back in the NFL playing under a disgruntled umbrella the entire season because he has a strained relationship with the owner, and because this is a team that's making a transition to a so-called reclamation project, especially once Anthony Richardson takes over that team. Yeah. Now, he can be a phenomenal athlete, but he's got to go through the growing pains of learning how to play at the NFL level. Minshew is what he is. He's a nice supporting role player, but he's not a frontline quarterback in the NFL. If I'm Jonathan Taylor, I'm not happy at all about my situation in Indy. Uh-oh. Did we lose Rob? Uh-oh, I guess somehow, some way, Mr. Ellis must have dropped out for a moment. Hopefully we get him back soon. But the running back situation across the board, the National Football League, has been topic of conversation for some time now because of the prominent names that are sitting out there. Josh Jacobs is not signed. Dalvin Cook is still looking for a home. We know the Jonathan Taylor situation, and I don't see how it's going to be resolved. Hey, there he is. What happened, man?
I don't know. Just went black for a second. I got it back up as quickly as I could. My apologies.
And you thought it was me. See?
No, not you.
It again.
That was 100% this guy, not that guy, not that guy.
But I was just saying, did you think that the NFL, that the running back position would be such a hot topic of discussion?
No.
At this stage of a summer?
I didn't think it would go to this extreme. No, I didn't, Eric. Honestly, I mean, I know you just hit on it, but if you really think about this for a minute, all the Taylor stuff, which is only getting uglier as every minute, right? You have all of that. The Saquon thing, that's not over. Like, I think this is very well his last year in New York, right? There's the Saquon thing, which was poorly handled from both sides, I think. You go beyond that. You got Josh Jacobs is still out of right now, holding out. He's pissed off about the tag. You have Pollard tagged. He did sign it, but I'm sure he's not thrilled about what's going on there.
Dalvin Cook sitting there. Kareem Hunt is still sitting out there.
You're right.
Leonard Fournette is still sitting out there.
Yeah, Ezekiel Elliott. It's weird.
Elliott,
Like Dalvin Cook is like sitting there watching Jets practice, but he's not signed with the Jets. It's very strange, what's going on here. So there's all of those things that are sort of like floating around, and you just wonder, like, is it worth it for these organizations to get their pound of flesh? Like, if you could just be, in my opinion, like give these guys a little bit more, a couple breadcrumbs, and maybe it doesn't turn into this. Austin Eckler wanted out. The Chargers, gave him some, achievable incentive clauses, so he could get a little bit more money. But it's like these teams aren't budging. Like, they're standing really hard and firm on these running back contracts. They really are. I mean, the way it's being handled by Irsay and some others is an extreme. But look, the Eagles have 4 running backs who are making $7 million. Total.
And you have meanwhile, all the running backs are sitting there watching everybody else get paid. Look at all the big money contracts that have come to the forefront this summer. From quarterbacks, obviously, D tackles, D ends, safeties, cornerbacks, wide receivers, but yet the running back. When was the last time we talked about a running back getting big money? Think about it. I mean,
it was McCaffrey or Derrick Henry.
Henry.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, like we keep talking about, the guy who really made out well this offseason is Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders got a deal. He jumped on it right away. And considering what's going on with these other backs, he's being paid very well for his productivity over his career. So props to him.
His deal is a favorable deal. I mean, it's a $22 million deal, but it's still a favorable deal. It's not that big money that 2 of the guys we mentioned before, the Christian McCaffrey's, Derrick Henry's got before. So the numbers have come down, even though out of all the running backs, Miles Sanders got the best deal so far this offseason.
Yeah.
Compared to Kareem Hunt and guys like that. Are you kidding me?
Yep. Yeah. It's no doubt. I mean, you go far enough back, McCaffrey's a few years ago now. Derrick Henry's a few years ago now.
Yep.
When you're talking about the last couple of years, Zeke was a few years ago. When you're talking about recently, it's definitely changed. And I think each of those teams, in hindsight, regret. I can't say Tennessee did, but I think the Panthers and the Cowboys were both like, damn, we paid a lot of money. And unfortunately, in McCaffrey's case, he was getting injured a lot at the end in Carolina. Now, he went on and had a nice finish in San Francisco last year. And Zeke was just not the same guy.
No,
so there is definitely some buyer's remorse. And I think all the owners are kind of pouncing on it right now.
And understandably so. And I think Travis Etienne of Jacksonville has said it best.
Yep.
I understand what he said. Obviously, what he said is not going to weigh favorably with the other running backs who are out there possibly taking a stance. He talked about how running backs need to be more diversified. And I'm thinking, how much more diversified can running backs be? They're already blockers. They catch passes. They run the ball. And a lot of them play on special teams. What else do you want them to be? I think the running back position is about, in today's game, is about as diversified as it can possibly be at this point.
Yeah.
And so where Travis Etienne is coming from, I have no idea, but I don't see how you can be more diversified now.
Well, the thing is, I understand what Etienne's saying, but it's sort of a weird, if you want to be sort of in unison with your brethren, it's a weird thing to say right now. You know what I mean? It's like, also, if you're Saquon Barkley, who can catch the ball, who can run the ball, who's a good blocker, and you have to go through all this, what else is he supposed to do? Does he have to diversify his game? He got $11 million. They gave him a $900,000, not even about a $900,000 quote unquote raise, but he has to hit all of his incentives to get it. So what else do you want him to do?
Our cornerbacks and safeties asked to be more diversified, a wide receiver more diversified. No, they're asked to do their job description. So a running back's description is well defined in today's game.
Yep.
We see it across the board. We see how the Eagles use running backs, the Kansas Cities use running back, the Green Bays, the New Orleans, the Tampa Bay. They're as diversified as you can possibly be. So the fact that you're asking them to be a jack of all trades more so than you are other positions, from a running back's perspective, I understand why they're crying foul now.
Yeah.
You can't be any more diversified than you have been in today's game.
Well, I think the other thing that's tough for them is they realize it, like anybody in the NFL for sure this applies to, but especially them. They have a really short shelf life, and their ability to earn, they maybe get that second contract, and then that's it. Generally by 30, there aren't. Think about how many effective running backs are there in the league that are 30 plus. I can't think of really any off the top of my head. So you really, really have to get it early if you can get it. And the problem too is if you're a later round draft pick, you're not getting a big contract. So that second one is everything to you.
Yes.
It's everything. And
your second your big contract, your one and only big contract may come in your third or fourth year in the league. And oh, by the way, if you're a first round draft pick, it's the fifth year.
Exactly.
If the team decides to pick up an option, so you by the time you get that contract, you're 26, 27, and that's the stage you're in the prime time of your career.
Mm-hmm.
Look at offensive linemen. Look at how many big contracts Lane Johnson has gotten.
Yep.
Jason Kelsey has gotten in their late 20s, early 30s.
Mm-hmm.
Wide receivers will get second big contracts. Cornerbacks, look at the Darius Slays and the James Bradbury. Not over the top money, but they've gotten second good money contracts. The running back, if he's lucky, gets that one big contract, and that's it. And now the owners basically have colluded to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so we will, because you and I were digging around, and we realized we didn't do all the teams yet for our greatest series. We got at least another week's worth. So we'll
we got 4 or 5 left.
Let's do it, man. You want to do the Cardinals, who are our team today?
You want to do them now?
Yeah, let's do it. Why not?
Okay.
All right. Let's do it now. All right. Interesting, because this is a team that, goes back to the St. Louis days, from back in the day. And then of course made the move to Arizona with the Bidwells. So you get first crack in this one, D-Guy.
The funny thing about this Cardinals organization, you talk about the gypsies of the NFL. They went from Chicago to St. Louis to Arizona in their history. It's hard to even fathom they used to be called the Chicago Cardinals.
That's amazing, isn't it?
That's something.
Yeah, it really is.
When you talk about the history of the Cardinals, there's only one name that comes to the mind first and forefront. It has to be Larry Fitzgerald.
All day. Yep.
That man spent all 17 of his years as a receiver with the Cardinals organization. Do you know he had 1,432 receptions in his career, only 29 drops his entire career?
Whoa.
29 drops. His catch success ratio, 97.9%.
Oh my God. That's unbelievable.
Receiver?
That's unbelievable.
97.9% catch.
Oh, God.
29 drops and 1,400 plus catches. That's it.
It's incredible. That's incredible. I mean, Derek, he missed one game over 17 years.
That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous.
And the amount of shots that he took, he 256 straight games with a catch.
Yes.
He was the model of consistency. This guy.
He's had a chance to play in 9 playoff games.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, if there's anybody, if you're not a fan of the team, if there's any individual you would root for to win a trophy, it would be Larry Fitzgerald.
Man, I wanted him so badly. And what was it?
Against Pittsburgh
Steelers Super Bowl. I wanted him so badly to get it. I really did. And he played great in that game.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
He scored the touchdown and gave them the lead. And all of a sudden, Steelers walk down the field, get the game-winning touchdown in a great Super Bowl, I might add.
Yeah.
In 9 playoff appearances, he had 57 catches, 900 plus yards, and I believe it was 10 touchdowns. Phenomenal for his career. Unfortunately, he never got to hoist that ring. Right now, he sits his total catches and his overall receiving yards are only second in the National Football League to the GOAT of receivers, Jerry Rice.
Yeah, incredible. Really incredible numbers, that's for sure. 432 catches. Just a machine. He was a machine. All right, number 2 here. I got to go Larry Wilson. Larry Wilson was a safety, Derek.
Yes.
5 All-Pros, 8 Pro Bowls, Hall of Fame, Defensive Player of the Year. This guy had 52 interceptions for a career. He had 10 in one season. That's a lot of picks, man. And he could do it all. He could hit you. He was a ball hawk. He was kind of ahead of his time at the safety position in a lot of ways for a guy who played during that era, but a great player nonetheless. So I'll go Larry Wilson.
Great choice. Matter of fact, once the Cardinals knew what they had in him, he's the one that kind of invented the safety blitz.
Yep.
To put pressure on quarterbacks. He spent 13 seasons on the field, but to show you how highly respected he was by the Cardinals organization, he spent 30 years in their front office.
Yeah.
So he spent 13 years in the field and another 30 in the Cardinals front office.
43 years with one organization.
That's respect at its finest. 52 interceptions, over 800 yards returned on the interceptions. He was a defensive player of the year in 1966. He wasn't the fastest guy out there, but definitely one of the smartest to ever play the position and kind of revolutionized the safety blitz.
Yeah, no question about it. All right, that's a good one. All right, who else do you have?
I got to go, if we're going to stay in the DBs, I got to go Aeneas Williams.
Yes.
Aeneas Williams was a phenomenal talent, could run, could hit, could do everything you could ask of him. He played in all 160 games of his 10-year career.
I didn't know that. I didn't know he played every game. That's awesome.
In all 160 games? Are you kidding me? The thing I loved about him most was his heads-up play. He was fearless, tenacious, great tackler. And for a guy in his position, he was pretty fast. Mm-hmm. And so I had to put him on a list because he's also tied for the longest fumble return for a touchdown, 140 yards.
Jeez.
He was one of the great Cardinals of that era, no question about it.
That's a good one. That's a good choice. Dan Deerdorf. You're talking about an offensive lineman who, I know a lot of us knew him later as a broadcaster, but he was a phenomenal offensive lineman, Derek. 3-time All-Pro, 6 Pro Bowls. He's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He played a very long time there. He was a staple during the St. Louis years. He was prior to them moving to Phoenix, but he was a hell of an offensive lineman. Play with an edge, big dude. He was really, really good. So I'll go Deerdorf there.
Hall of Fame career for 3 consecutive years. He was the offensive lineman of the year. That should tell you exactly what he meant. From 74 to 76, 1978, and from 80 to 82. He never missed a game. That's all you need to know about him. Between 74 and 76, Cardinals made 2 playoff appearances. They won at least 10 games in 3 consecutive years. Mm-hmm. The offensive line led by Dan Deerdorf was one of the main reasons why that team was so good for that short stretch of time.
No question.
No question about it.
All right. Who else do you have?
I would have to say my second favorite player of all time behind Larry Fitzgerald had to be Conrad Dobler.
Oh, here is example A of could not survive in today's game, but during that era was as feared as anybody who ever played.
He would get into people's heads before they even played a game. He was considered such a dirty player and took pride in the fact of his dirty play. He always felt that was his psychological advantage when he stepped in the trenches. He had players thinking, what do I have to do to protect myself against this guy? But, it's a shame that the dirty player moniker overshadows his career. One of the finest offensive linemen ever played a game. Tough, stout, didn't give up many sacks in his career, a driving force in a running game. But he had that nasty edge about him. A lot of guys just hated lining up against him because of the reputation he built for playing a little bit beyond the whistle being blown.
Yeah, he was the classic head slap guy. He would do all those kind of things. He was nasty, man. That's for sure. Look, I know his best years were probably the Rams, but Kurt Warner made one of the all-time comebacks as a Cardinal. I mean, you think about it. Derek, he looked done with the Giants. Remember those years?
Absolutely.
And, I thought his career was over. He ended up getting benched for Eli, and I thought he was going to finish up the rest of his career just as a backup. And that's where he went. He went to Arizona as basically a backup. He was behind Leinart, if you remember. That's how long ago this was. But he ends up got the magic back. One of the things he talked about that helped him was he healed. It helped him heal. Like he had a bad hand. He had a bunch of stuff that was going on, and not playing a ton let his body heal. And then he came back strong and leading them to that Super Bowl. And it wasn't his fault. Unfortunately, they just couldn't stop Pittsburgh in some big moments, but that was a heck of an effort by him in that Super Bowl. So I'm going to give Kurt Warner a little Cardinal love here, even though he's more of a Ram.
Man goes from bagging groceries to the USFL to the Arena Football League to a Pro Bowl, a Hall of Fame career.
Yeah.
You can't write a better script, man. You just cannot write a better script than what he did.
You're right about that. And, God vaulted him into the Hall of Fame, Really
I'm gonna go old school on this one.
All right.
Charlie Trippy.
Yes.
When you talk about a diversified player, he was drafted by the Cardinals in 47. He helped the Cardinals win the championship in 47 as a rookie. But I pulled up his stats. When you're talking about a passer, a runner, a catcher, a defensive player, and a punter, dude, he signed for an unprecedented $100,000 contract back then. Now think about this.
That's a lot of money back then.
100,000 because the Cardinals identified what he could do for this team. When he retired, the dude had 3,500 rushing yards, 2,547 passing yards, 1,321 receiving yards, 16 TD passes, 11 TD receptions, and 23 rushing scores. Plus, he punted as well.
That's a football player.
That's a one-man show.
Yeah.
So this dude, I not really know much about him until I started reading up on the history of the Cardinals. What an incredible talent. You think about what is $100,000 worth? That's worth about a $10 million contract in today's football.
Big time. Big time. Oh, God, it is. You're right. He'd be the highest paid player maybe in the game.
Oh, my goodness.
In this day and age. That's a good one. One of the things I like about doing this is, do I consider myself a big fan of the history of the game? Sure. But do I know every player? No, I don't. I'll tell you a guy I learned about today, Derek, that I didn't know much about, and I probably should have known more about.
Yep.
Roger Worley was a guy I didn't know much about. He was Roger Staubach called him, and he coined the term shutdown corner.
Yes.
3-time All-Pro, 7-time Pro Bowler, played corner for the Cardinals. It's a pretty cool story. He was a hometown hero. He went to Missouri. He grew up in Missouri. He was St. Louis, plays in St. Louis, but I didn't realize this guy played as long as he did, as effective as he did. I honestly wasn't familiar with him. So
he played. Yeah, I remember him. He played all 14 of his seasons with the Cardinals. Only missed 6 games in 14 seasons.
Yeah, these guys.
That's all you need to know about him. He didn't get inducted into the Hall of Fame until 2007. People were screaming, "Why is this guy not in the Hall of Fame?" Decision makers finally realized what he contributed to the game of football and finally got him in. But you're right. He was a fine cornerback in his day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Who else do you have?
I got to go Ollie Matson.
Yes.
Ollie Matson, first of all, is only one of 3 players in the history of the NFL to win an Olympic medal and to play in a National Football League. He won a silver medal in the 4x400 meter relay and a bronze medal in the 400-meter run back in the 1952 Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
You look at his career: rushing yards, rushing touchdowns, receiving. This dude could do it all, man.
Oh yeah.
I mean, 6-time Pro Bowler, 6-time All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowler. His all-purpose yards are almost 13,000 all-purpose yards in his career.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, another one. Just a football player. I had to put him in here, Derek. I can't let this nickname go. Night Train Lane. Dick Night Train Lane. Anybody named Night Train. Night Train could bring it, in terms of taking a guy's head off, which you could do back then. but he was also a ball hawk. He could do it all. And he's another one of these guys who was just like a diverse football player. And you had to be back then. You had to play multiple positions, do a lot of different things. It wasn't as specialized as it is this day and age. But Night Train Lane, phenomenal, just a phenomenal player. So I'd had to work him in there.
One more I had to add in there was the tight end JAKIB Smith, who was drafted by the Cardinals. He was drafted in the 10th round back in 1963. Nobody thought he would make the team even. And yet he parlayed that into a Hall of Fame career. When he retired as a player, he retired as having the most receiving yards ever among tight ends in the National Football League. And he played from 1963 to 67. 1977.
Right.
Sure-handed pass catcher, not a fast guy, tough as nails though. He was kind of like an old school George Kittle type tight end.
Yeah.
Dudes trying to hit him, he bounced right off of him. He didn't rack up gargantuan numbers, but they were big numbers for his day. Back 480 receptions. You look at the receiver, the tight ends of the day, like the Tony Gonzalez's and guys like that, Shannon Sharps, and you look at their numbers compared to here, there's no comparison. But back in his day, when again, throwing the football wasn't as prominent as it is now, his numbers were phenomenal for that era.
I think I agree with you. The shame of it for him is he ends his career with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And he drops a short touchdown pass in the end zone that may have won them the Super Bowl against the Steelers. And there's the famous Vern Lundquist call saying, God bless his heart, he must be the sickest man in America right now, or something like that. That's I think that was his very last game. Oof, that's rough. That's a rough way to go out. But hey, look, them's the breaks. He still had a great career.
Yeah, he did.
So that's good. Yeah, Cardinals were good. We still, like I said, we got a bunch more that we will do throughout the rest of the week. So I'm excited that we have that still. All right, we'll sneak in some fills when we get back. Man, the NFL segment at 2:00 is locked and loaded with a lot of stuff. Aaron Rodgers coming out firing, for his guy Nathaniel Hackett, and a bunch of other stuff that we are going to dig into. And what's up, Fitness Rebel? There she is. She's checking in. It's a little bit later. That's okay. We're glad to see her as always. So we'll get a timeout. We'll come back and we'll talk some Bills. He's Derek. I'm Rob. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Let's talk about Pro Action Restoration. Pro Action Restoration. They are the place that you turn to if a home, a business, or a property that you own go through the inconvenience of water, fire, smoke, mold damage. They're on call 24 hours, 7 days a week to assist you. I can tell you that from personal experience because I reached out to them on a Saturday and they got right over to my parents' house. They had a flooded basement. It was a mess. They came over, they cleaned it up. The crew was professional, clean. The price was right. It was, it was a big relief. That's for sure. They are licensed, bonded, and fully insured. They've been serving the tri-state area for more than 2 decades. Pro Action Restoration will work in conjunction with your insurance company. So again, it could be water, it could be fire, it could be smoke damage, mold remediation, you name it, they can handle it. Give them a call, 610-623-3760, 610-623-3760, or online at proactionrestoration.com. That's proactionrestoration.com.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wild wood days.
Score and save in Southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer three major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
EAGLES, Eagles.
We're back. Hi. That's Derek. I'm Rob. We are hanging out. Trying to eat as fast as I can. Oh my God.
Choke yourself.
Gee whiz. All right. I'm good. All right. So I had to build up my stamina to talk Phillies. Yesterday was a colossal disgrace. It really
I thought you were going to say something else.
No, I could say other things. I'm going to keep it clean. Yeah, there are other words that could be used for sure. Honest to God, Derek, it was the kind of game that you say to yourself, like, you shouldn't even be seeing this in Little League. So let's just walk through it. So Rob Thompson makes the decision not to start Bryson Stott. Bryson Stott was going into the game fourth in the National League in average, fifth in hits, and hitting .310 against left-handers. And the Phillies were facing a left-hander yesterday. And on top of that, he's 25 years old. But he needed to get him a day off, according to Rob Thompson. So you had no Stott in the lineup. And I get it. Real Muto needs days off. I'm not ripping him for sitting Real Muto. But you had Real Muto out, and you had Josh Harrison in there. Josh Harrison, in my opinion, Derek, will not be a Philly after the trade deadline. He'll either be traded or DFA'd.
Ooh, you heard it first. Rob put it out there.
And I don't understand how a 25-year-old needs a day off. I don't understand that.
I don't get well, again, you play 162 games. You do need a break. I will say that. You know, strategically, though, you got to be a little bit better strategic, especially when day in and day out, you're doing your homework on who you're up against, whether it's a pitcher, whether it's a pitcher. Okay, you know, he's susceptible to the breaking pitches, low and away, low and inside. He'll go fishing on a high fastball. You know, from a hitter standpoint, hey, this guy doesn't do – the dude is – correct me if I'm wrong. The guy started for the Pirates yesterday. Wasn't he 43 years old?
And, yeah, he is 43. That's correct.
His fastball was 89 miles an hour.
Yes.
How did you not tattoo this dude right from the jump?
Well, yeah, I don't know either. And then, so as the game goes on, although he wasn't, I would say, like lights out sharp, he was sharp, and I know he hit a couple guys, and one he didn't even hit the guy. I don't know if I think it missed his foot, but Christopher Sanchez, since he's gotten up here, has been excellent. Since he came back up, he's been excellent.
Yep.
So he goes through 5 innings, and he doesn't come out the next inning. You're saying, what's going on? He hasn't even allowed a hit. Like, what's up? What is this? So we come to find out after the game that he wasn't feeling well. But, you know, Thompson in one breath says he had a stomach issue. Now Sanchez also said it, but he said he also could have gone maybe 15 more pitches and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right. He comes out. Sir Anthony, who's been a mess, comes in, and literally 2 batters later, it's a 2-2 game after the home run allowed. You're like, what the, like, whiplash? What just happened, right? So it's 2-2 at that point. So all of a sudden, Stott's not in the lineup. Sanchez is being pulled. You're like, what is happening here? So then fast forward here to the 7th, Derek, and there's a pop. Phillies are up at this point. It's 4-2.
Oh, my goodness.
There's a pop-up in the infield, and Sosa's playing third, and because Bohm's on first. Sosa's playing third. Trey Turner. Both guys are converging. They're both calling it. Whenever there's anything in doubt in the infield, the shortstop takes over.
Shortstop has the final call, yes.
Just like a center fielder does in the outfield. Okay.
Yep.
So instead of being the man and taking this thing over, Turner and Sosa go into one another. It hits Turner's glove and it bounces to the ground. Unbelievable. Like that is little league stuff. Okay. The very next batter hits one to center, and Rojas can't handle it on the ground. He boots it. Run scores. It's 4-3. Like, this has been an issue all year. The only thing we hadn't seen up until that point was horrendous base running. But
yeah, for that day. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, not yet that day. So fast forward now to the 10th. You have Harper on second as the ghost runner.
Yep.
And Bohm gets on an infield hit, but then there's an error by the first baseman that allows him to advance.
Yep.
And you're saying to yourself, no outs, second and third.
Wait, wasn't it? Yeah, second and third. You're right. Second and third, no outs.
You're getting 2 runs here. Phillies are going to get 2 runs.
At least 2 runs.
Right.
Here's what I will say about this Phillies team, Rob.
Okay.
Whenever they go to extra innings, and they always start with that man on second base,
yep.
You 9 times out of 10, you feel good that they're going to produce because they have done that this year.
Uh-huh.
That's one of the few things they've done consistently is with the extra man on base and extra innings.
Yeah. Not this time, my friend.
No.
Okay. So no outs, top of the 10th, runners second and third. Trey Turner actually looked like he was going to do something to contribute to the team. He hits a fly ball to right that's like, would you say medium range, medium to deeper, I would say on the fly ball. Definitely not shallow.
I'd say medium range, yeah.
Okay. So the guy playing right for the Pirates, his name is Henry Davis. Henry Davis was the first overall pick, who is a guy who catches and plays the outfield. Yep. He does have a cannon for an arm. The guy's got a cannon, okay? So he catches it. Harper, who's Mr. Aggressive on the base paths, begins to tag, and you're like, all right, he's going. Here we go. Stops midway through. I guess to draw a throw, or maybe because he saw that Davis was, had a good arm, whatever. He goes back to first or third. Here's the problem. Bohm, thinking Harper's Mr. Aggressive, he's going. I'm going to third. Doesn't look up at his third base coach, Dusty Wathan. He just has his head down. Again, little league stuff.
Chugging along.
All of a sudden, he realizes Harper's standing there on third base, and it's chaos. So then the rundown starts at second. And then Harper's like, uh-oh, he's coming. I got to go. Harper takes off for home and gets doubled up. So all of a sudden, there's 2 outs in the blink of an eye, and they have no runs. And Bohm's still on second base. So Phillies get no runs. And then here's the ultimate kicker. Palacios comes up in the bottom of the 10th as the first batter. He's trying to bunt.
Yep.
Andrew Vasquez is through 2 inside. He couldn't bunt because the pitches were so bad. The next pitch, he hits out, and it's it. The game's over.
And by the way, wait, to add insult to injury, that was only his second home run of the year.
And it was his birthday. So he had a hell of a day. Yeah, he had a hell of a day.
And not only that, did you see how he danced around the bases?
Oh, yeah.
The dance.
They won the World Series. Yeah.
The dance show he put on around the bases. And when he got to home, it took him forever to get to home. You talk about putting salt in a wound.
Yeah.
I don't blame the Pirates. That's on the Phillies.
I couldn't. I had to do a talk show, and I was at a loss for words. Honest to God, Derek. Like we've done this a few times. You and I have sat here and said, that's definitely their worst loss of the year. Like, we've said it. I'm sorry. That was the worst loss of the year. Would you agree? We have not seen anything worse than that.
That was the finest of the finest losses. This team always produces in extra innings. And I'm thinking, there's no way one of the worst teams in baseball is going to be able to hold his team off once you get past the 9th inning. No way, no how.
Yeah.
And the Phillies played right into their hands. Everything they teach you not to do, every verbal communication screw up, every base running screwed up. And that was the second day in a row that Harper got nailed trying to be a little over aggressive.
Yeah. There's a fine line between aggression and reckless. And I appreciate Harper. He's always trying. He's always pushing the pedal. I get it. I love that. It's all effort all the time. But you got to be smart sometimes. You got to have discretion sometimes, and he doesn't. He loses sight of it, Derek.
See, if I was Harper, I would have gone back to third, because even if Bone came, one of them was going to get tagged out, but at least you would have had a man at third. See?
Yep.
So I would have gone back to third. Not Bryce Harper, Mr. And I understand Bryce is frustrated, and you can tell by his body language.
Yeah.
Whenever he gets a hit that drives in a run, whenever he scores, he's pumping the fist like it's a playoff game. And I understand, because Bryce Harper is like the rest of us. There's no way we thought this team would be this inconsistent this late into the season. And yet here they are struggling against the likes of a Pittsburgh team. Rob, go back to the first game. You realize how close they came to getting swept out of Pittsburgh?
I know. I know. And this is a Pittsburgh team that really has been bad for a month and a half, 2 months.
For
they
years.
started off great. Yeah, they've been bad. And the other thing, Derek, is if this was Gabe Kapler or Joe Girardi,
oh my goodness,
with the lack of fundamentals on this team, we'd be killing them. We would be destroying both of those guys. You got to call it like it is. Thompson did an incredible job last year. Some of this is on him.
Yes, and Rob, the question I've been pondering for days is, how could it go from one extreme to the other with Thompson? Last year, he could do no wrong in terms of strategizing, when to pull a guy, when to make a move in the lineup, when to bring in a substitute. Now it's like every week we're questioning some of his moves. How could it possibly go from one extreme to the other? He's the same manager. Basically the same nucleus of players minus a few additions.
Right.
It's the same nucleus of players. You know these guys inside and out. How could it go so bad from one year to the next?
You know what? I don't know. Here's the thing. I know the players appreciate that he is the steady hand. Like he's never, he's there's something you can count on with that when you know consistently what your guy is going to be, and he's always got their back. He's never going to rip you publicly, all that. That's all good. It's a very good thing. In baseball, it really is, because you have so many highs and lows. However, I wonder if he's not being taken advantage of a little bit by some of these guys. I do. I wonder about that. I'm just putting it out there, Derek. I don't know that for sure, but it's something that concerns me, because we've seen it on the base paths. We've seen like that, not calling off a ball. And I get Turner's in his own head probably. But that is basic fundamental stuff. And they're struggling in the fundamentals in a big way. They just are. And I think that look, again, I appreciate the job that he did for them last year. I do. But, he hasn't done well enough, and they haven't done well enough. This has been a group effort. Like, this team should not be struggling the way that they have with the talent that they have.
It's interesting you use the words taking advantage of. I think these guys are the consummate professionals. I think they want to win. I think they're so much similar to the Eagles. We were a Cinderella story last year. Yep. We enhanced the product. We needed to add some more pop in the lineup. They did that in Trey Turner. We needed to add some more arms in the bullpen. They did that as well. The product on paper looks so much better, and yet it's so much worse at this stage of a season than it was a year ago.
Yep.
I don't know what has led to this in terms of it being so discombobulated like this. I really don't.
Mm-hmm.
It should be that way. And I don't think Rob Thompson is going to come out of who he is in terms of how he strategizes. I think we're going to have more discussions about some of the moves he makes or doesn't make.
Yeah, Daz says, I don't think Rob's making bad decisions. I think the players are making bonehead plays. And Daz, you may very well be right. It's at some point, coaches can only do so much. And, players do have to have accountability for their actions. I think it's a combination of things. I didn't like the lineup. I didn't like Stott being out of there. If you really feel like your guy is ill, I get it. Okay, that's different. But if not, I hope that wasn't hey, the book's saying get him out third time around in the batting order, kind of thing, because that feels very Girardi-ish. But there was just a lot of things that went on in that game yesterday that can't happen. And you know what? It's one thing. Thompson after the game said, hey, a lot of things we got to clean it up, and we will. He's been doing the we will thing for a while now. Start seeing it.
I think it's a team, Rob, that's pressing. And the further we get into the season, the more it's become an epidemic.
Yeah.
I mean, this team had 14 strikeouts. The battery for the Phillies had 14 strikeouts yesterday against an inferior pitching staff.
True.
14 strikeouts. On Friday, they had 12 strikeouts.
Yep. Right on.
That's 26 in 2 games for a power hitting team like the Phillies.
Yeah.
There's no way against. Now, if you're saying, okay, they had that many strikeouts against Atlanta staff, Marlins staff, Dodger staff, Brewer staff, that's different. Those teams are loaded with pitchers. Okay. But the Pirates are not a strong pitching team.
No.
And you had 26 in 2 games against them. And I think it's across the board. I think it's become an epidemic. You look at the frustration in their faces when they strike out. You look at how they walk back to the dugouts. And now let's add this, because we're not going to make excuses. The home plate umpire strike zone yesterday was ridiculous.
Oh.
And you could tell players are jaw-jacking with them and like, what are you calling here? High balls called strikes, balls outside and low were called strikes. There was no consistency at all.
Yeah.
But you still have players striking out on pitches they normally don't strike out on. We've been talking about this since June.
Yes.
They're still striking out on pitches low and away, pitches inside on their hands, or in some cases, they're standing there looking at a called third strike coming right down the middle.
I agree with you 100%. So they're in Miami tonight. 4 games set here, Derek. This is critical. Okay. And this is not hyperbole trying to make something up out of nothing. I mean, they're right there. If you look at the wild card standings with the Phillies and the Marlins, one's 57-49, one's 56-49. These are big games this starting tonight. So, we'll find out. We're going to find out a little bit more what this team's made of, because now we're essentially into August. Okay. And it gets big. You got Walker tonight, then it's Suarez, then it's Wheeler, then it's Nola. That you got your supposed big 4 there going in this series. And Wheeler, by the way, has really kind of looked like Wheeler again. So that's encouraging.
Great game Friday.
Yeah. Yep. He did. He pitched well. All right, let's hit it. Let's come back. NFL. We will certainly continue to talk about the Jonathan Taylor thing, but we're going to get into shots fired from Aaron Rodgers, a bunch of other stuff that we will cover. There's a lot of NFL stuff to discuss. We'll do it all when we come back. That's Derek Gunn. I'm Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Let's talk about Flynn Tree Services. Yes, Flynn Tree Services is an experienced, licensed, and insured Pennsylvania tree services company that will trim or remove any unwanted trees off of your property. They offer cost-effective solutions to any tree problem that you may face. If you are in the areas of southeastern PA, South Jersey, and northern Delaware, that is right in their wheelhouse. Keep in mind too, you want to make sure you get your trees evaluated if they're looking like you could have some issues with some branches coming down or some trees coming down. It's a great time to get them evaluated now before that happens. Go to their Facebook or Instagram page for more information or a sampling of their work. Give Flynn Tree Services a call at 610-850-2848, 610-850-2848, or online at flynntreeservices.com. That's flynntreeservices.com.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Google TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
For the big story on Action News,
search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust, and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia Dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, did you know I was the mommy slam dunk champion?
Really?
Yes, really don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, I go to left, fake 'em out. Mama, go up, up, up.
She did it.
Again? You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh. EAGLES. Eagles.
What's up, everybody? Appreciate you hanging with us on this Monday. That's Derek. I'm Rob.
Did you get it all out of your system?
I'm good. I feel better now.
You feel better now?
Yeah, thank you. It's therapeutic.
You've had your dry Cheerios.
I did. It helped.
You've screamed to the high heavens about the ineptness of the Phillies.
Yes.
And so now you're back to where the mild-mannered Rob Ellis that I know and love, right?
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, give me a hug. All right. This one with this, did you see this? Pee Wee Herman died.
Yeah, man.
Paul Rubin, 70 years old. He had a private battle with cancer that he obviously didn't make public, and passes away. Man, that guy he was a force. Yeah, he had quite a some controversy too. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But man, turned that character into a pretty successful career. That's for sure.
It's amazing in some ways that here's a guy who had this weird voice, and I'm sure it was not his normal voice, but he became such a cult following throughout his career. Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse or Big House, and then some of the movies that he made as well. And Pee Wee Herman was a big fan favorite across America.
Yeah,
for a lot of reasons. But you know what? God bless him. Rest in peace, my brother, and condolences to your family out there.
Absolutely. Yeah. So pass that one along. We'll do birthdays and movies a little bit later as well. All right. NFL. So, as you would expect, Eric, no big surprise here with this one. So Aaron Rodgers, who has a very close relationship with Nathaniel Hackett, they go back to the Green Bay days. There was thought that Rodgers may end up in Denver when Hackett went there last year. It didn't happen, obviously, but he was asked by Peter Schrager of the NFL Network about what Peyton had to say, and he said this, quote, "Made me feel bad that someone who has accomplished a lot in this league is that insecure that they have to take another man down to set themselves up for some easy fall if it doesn't go well for that team this year." He went on to say, I think it was way out of line, inappropriate, and I think he needs to keep my coach's name out of his mouth. How about that? That was, and if you watched it, he does it in a pretty calm manner, and he also says beforehand, "Let me be really clear. I'm a huge fan of Paul Hackett as a coach. He's probably my favorite coach that I've ever had. Very close with his family. He's a great family man, et cetera, et cetera." So he makes no bones about it that's his guy. But I thought it was a pretty interesting. And the part where he worked in it, if you have to take a shot at somebody to make yourself feel better for the fall, if it doesn't go this well this year, was interesting, I thought. Yeah.
I don't think either party said anything that's not true. I mean, when you think about what Sean Payton said about Nathaniel Hackett, it was disjointed, to the point where the Broncos organization identified it in a hurry and eliminated it. There are things that are just you just don't say in the fraternity of the NFL. And I do think that maybe there's some truth to what Aaron Rodgers is saying. Sean Payton comes in as this highly decorated head coach. He's got a team that's loaded with talent. If it doesn't, and he talks about how we've got to change the culture, so on and so forth, we have to get rid of what was going on here a year ago. If it doesn't, he has a built-in excuse. Well, it's going to take a little bit longer than one season to get rid of, certain elements. And, we're going to evaluate everything, and we're going to get our kind of players in here. Both sides were telling truth, but for the most part. But, Sean, you don't fire that kind of shot across the bow in the fraternity of the NFL. Focus on what you need to do and not what your predecessor did.
Yeah, I think he was calculated in that. I think the objective was, I'm taking the heat off of Russell Wilson. There was a lot of bad things going on around Russell, and this wasn't necessarily Russell's fault. I think that is what the intent was. The weird stuff was when he went into the whole Jets winning the offseason thing. It was kind of that was where it got a little weird for me. Like you said, there wasn't anything that he said that was, really, it was one of the worst, not even one and dones we've seen from a coach in Nathaniel Hackett. And there was a lot of chaos that went on, but I think that's what ticked off some people. And apparently Peyton has reached out to at least Robert Saleh and said that he was sorry. So we'll see. Hey, look, here's the thing. From a fan's perspective, Derek, if you love the game, you're just sitting back and kind of keep talking, man. Keep doing whatever you're doing, because guess what? These two play each other come week 5. That game is at Denver, week 5, 425, and that thing just vaulted to the top of the list that day for games.
Because it's going to be brought back up the week of that game.
Yep.
There's no question. The media is going to bring it up to both Aaron and Sean Payton. Let's see how they deflect it. I would imagine at that stage, not even based on record, but Aaron is going to be more verbose about it going into that game. Sean Payton will try to deflect it. Hey, that happened in the summer. I'm not talking about that now. I'm only talking about focusing and playing the New York Jets. That's exactly how I see this scenario playing itself out. But it will be a topic that will try to be probed once again come week 5 prior to that matchup out in Denver.
Amen. All right. Really no definitive update here on Joe Burrow. We know it's a calf. The word is that this is not going to be something that keeps him out for week 1 when it gets real. My guess is they're going to be uber careful here with him really up until week 1, because as I mentioned to you a little bit earlier, Derek, with injuries like calves, especially, there's other ones too, but there is a high frequency of re-injuring yourself with this kind of injury.
Absolutely.
So they got to be really, really careful here. So my guess is you won't be seeing him until break glass. And here we go. Let's prep for week 1. That's the next time you're going to see him.
I mean, the last 2 seasons, when it comes to the second best team in the AFC, it's been Cincinnati.
Yeah.
They went to a Super Bowl, lost a close game in the final seconds, and they came within a one bad play of possibly getting back to the Super Bowl again this past season.
Yeah.
So Cincinnati's organization knows what Joe Burrow means to them. They got to make sure and do everything in their power to make sure he's standing and ready to function at a high level come playoff time, especially if they meet Kansas City again in a playoff scenario.
Yeah.
So again, here's another injury. Overly cautious with it because you really don't need him. He knows the offense. The coaching staff's intact.
Yeah.
He knows the offense inside and out. Has had a great measure of success with that offense, especially with those weapons that he has at his disposal. Don't push him. Let it come back when he's ready to come back.
All right, let's go to the injury ward here then beyond that. I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but Zach Moss, who has been filling in for Jonathan Taylor, broke his arm, and he's out roughly 4 to 6 weeks, not a definitive timeline. They're thin. You remember they had Nyheim Hines as well.
Yep.
He's obviously not there anymore, and he got hurt himself in a really weird, accident or whatever. But they're thin. They're down to third-year backup Deion Jackson and rookie Evan Hull. That's it at running back. I mean, I got to think that one of these guys who's established that's out of work, they got to swoop up one of these guys, don't they? I mean,
I would think so, but how much are you willing to pay them? See, that's the thing.
Yeah.
You know, how much are these guys asking? And I would imagine as the season gets closer, the demand lessens. But now this team is in more of a desperate situation than the football players sitting out there. So you may have to pay a little bit more, even if you're only renting them for a year. You may have to pay a little bit more than you want to. But it's imperative, if that is the case, you get whoever that body may be into camp sooner rather than later, so that they can get adjusted to the concepts you're running with your team.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's one to keep your eye on, because out there right now, you have Kareem Hunt, right? He's still out there.
Yep.
You have Ezekiel Elliott. You have Leonard Fournette. You have Dalvin Cook, among others. I mean, they're just kind of the headliners there that are sort of floating around here.
Oh, there's no question about it. I'm most curious to see which one of these backs is the first one to bite and sign with somebody, because it's going to be a domino effect after that. You know, I think they're all waiting to see who gets what on the open market, to be honest. And then after that, they're going to say, you know what, if he got that, I might as well just go in. Whoever's offering me what, call my agent. Hey, look, if that's all he's getting, especially because he's been productive in this league, hey, man, look, just get me what you can. We'll regroup and revisit this thing at the conclusion of this season.
So it feels like right now, it's like a 2-horse race when it comes to Dalvin Cook, right? It's the Jets and Miami. At least that's the way it feels. We know Ezekiel Elliott visited the Patriots over the weekend.
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Have we heard him visiting anywhere else? Zeke?
No. That was
so maybe Cook has a little bit of leverage if he plays those two teams off of one another. But do you have a lot of leverage barring injuries? I mean, maybe the injury and the stuff that's going on in Indy helps these guys too, but it doesn't feel like Zeke or Hunt or Fournette have a lot of options right now.
No, it doesn't. And which again, when you consider the caliber of these backs, how do most teams not make room for a guy like that?
Yeah.
For a Kareem Hunt, how do you not have room? You've seen what he can do. You've seen his body of work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know how you don't have room for him.
Yeah.
To be honest, I mean, there's very few teams that are set like the Eagles, like the Packers, that are set. Hey, I'd even look at Kareem Hunt down in Dallas. I'd hate to see that.
Right.
But could you imagine Kareem Hunt with Tony Pollard as a 1-2 punch in that backfield?
No doubt.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. No, I hear you. All right. Beyond that, we mentioned it, a little bit earlier, just kind of kicking around a couple of things, but the Jonathan Taylor thing is obviously at the forefront of what a lot of people are talking about. Other injuries. Kenneth Walker, the running back from the Seahawks, is dealing with a groin injury, so they've shut him down. They don't think it's long term. The kid I really like coming out of UCLA, Zach Charbonneau, who they got a little bit later in the draft, is taking the bulk of the carry. So I think he'll be fine as a backup. I like their setup they have in Seattle there.
I couldn't agree with you more. And if there's one place to go where running backs flourish, it's Seattle.
Right. Yeah. Great point. All right. So Anthony Richardson's up to 255 pounds. That's big for a quarterback, man. It's 10 more than he weighed at the combine, but the Colts don't feel like he's lost any agility or speed. He's just strong. He's a strong kid. And he's looked good so far. They're very pleased with the way that he's playing. He had to have a nasal procedure and he's out for a couple days, but they feel really good about where he's at right now.
How can you be as fluid as you want to be as a quarterback? Exactly. Dad said it. I said it earlier in the day. Jamarcus Russell 2.0.
Oh boy.
How can you be that big and be as fluid as you need to be in today's and play the game as today's style of quarterback plays it?
Allen's big.
Well, yeah. But here Richardson ran like a 4.4 at the combine at 244.
Right.
You're telling me an extra 11 pounds is not affecting his mobility, but you're right. All we hear with reports coming out of Indy is, he looks great, strong arm, better than we thought, things like that. But you're lumbering 255 pounds around as a quarterback in the National Football League?
Yeah.
I don't know about that one, man.
Yeah, look, just by comparison, Allen's 6'5", 237, so he's 18 pounds lighter, for what it's worth. So,
yeah.
And he looks like a linebacker running around back there. I can only imagine what Richardson's going to be looking like. Big dude.
Can you imagine if Richardson turns the corner and tucks the ball and runs, and you're a cornerback trying to come up and tackle him?
That's
a business decision. Yeah, buddy.
Correct. I don't know that a lot of corners are going to want to square him up. They might be just trying to cut his legs out if that's the case.
But I will say this, though. I am so looking forward to seeing what Richardson looks like in the Shane Steichen offense.
Yeah. Yeah, he's in a good spot with Shane Steichen. I don't know who he's handing the ball off to, but, we'll see. We'll keep our eye on that one. I know you caught this one. Le'Veon Bell was on with Rob Motti of the Associated Press. We had Rob on a couple weeks ago. Does a great job covering the NFL. Had some pretty interesting words to say, huh? Yeah. Regarding Daniel Jones and Saquon's situation.
Well, he came out and basically said that Daniel Jones was not even an average quarterback, yet you paid what you paid him. And you look at what Saquon is, not just to the Giants, but in terms of his status around the league and I understand it's a running back protecting a running back, but he does have some validity to it. We talk about Daniel Jones had his finest season as a pro quarterback in terms of protecting the ball, be productive. But are you putting Daniel Jones in the same category as a Saquon Barkley?
No,
absolutely not. We all know the offense runs through Saquon, but yet you gave Daniel Jones that big contract to make him one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the game, and you totally just put Saquon Barkley in the back burner. Here's another situation that could come back and bite you in the butt when this season is all said and done, in terms of either you having to use the franchise tag on them or paying them what the average of the top tier backs are in the National Football League.
Yeah. Yep. It's been a weird summer in off season in general for them. That's for sure. Also, I like this. This was candor, and a guy being really self-effacing and self-critical.
Mm-hmm.
Kayvon Thibodeau, who was the first-round pick of the Giants last year, and he got hurt, and he didn't, he didn't have the impact that they had hoped he was going to have last year. I'm not writing him off by any stretch. I still think the guy's an unbelievable talent. But he said when he looks back at the film from last year of his performance, he said he feels kind of disgusted. That's pretty strong words.
Well, it's good to hear, because if you remember, go back to last season. I can't remember if it was a preseason game or the first regular season game when an opposing player coming down the line cut him at the knees and it lost him for extended period of time with knee issues. And he understands, a player knows what he's capable of doing or what he wants to do. And I would agree with him. When he looked at the tape, that was not the players we expected to see coming out of college. So here's a guy who's got focus, has purpose, and a reason to being better than he was this past season. I think he's a great talent.
Yeah,
I do. And I'm looking forward to seeing him coming off the edge in certain games. Hopefully not the Eagles, but you know what I mean?
I agree. As long as those two games or if it's a playoff game 3, in that case, he doesn't do anything, all good. Do whatever you got to do. Vikings and Danielle Hunter come to a deal. 1 year, $20 million, 17 guaranteed. Derek, did this just get to the point where you can't let every guy on defense walk? I mean, and they bring him back, because it looked like that was headed south, but they reeled it in at least for one more year.
I kind of wonder now how much of that rumor out there for the last couple of weeks that he was on the trading blocks was true.
Right.
I wonder if the Vikings went into this whole scenario, let's see what we can get for him first, but if not, we know we're going to have to pay him. Because how does it go from being such a strained relationship to where Danielle wants out of there, Vikings are trying to move him, all of a sudden he gets a 1 year extension for what, 20 million, 17?
Yeah.
Are you serious? They're trying to get rid of the guy, according to what all the reports were saying.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, you give him a hefty raise like that?
Yeah. I haven't quite understood their approach, other than signing Flores, which I think was a good move. I don't understand what their approach has been in general.
I don't either.
On that side of the ball. I don't know. I mean, you're asking Cousins in that offense every week to really put up a lot of points.
I think even with all the deletions in Minnesota, I think Brian Flores is the perfect guy to come in there and rebuild, retool, and get his type of defense to refocus. Brian Flores can coordinate my defense any day of the week.
Right.
You know, when you look at the success he's had as a defensive coordinator, maybe that's what the Vikings wanted to do, just get younger and cheaper on defense because they felt they had players athletic enough to play with Flores is going to run.
Right.
We're going to find out, you know, because it's shocking when you've had that kind of success the Vikings have had the last couple of years, and all of a sudden you're letting these guys just walk.
Right.
Kind of shocking.
It is. It is. And they added some guys, you know, they took Jordan Addison in the first round, and that's to plug in for Thielen. But then they went corner, then they went safety, then they went nose tackle, you know, with the next 3 picks.
Yeah.
So they're trying to do it through youth, but you know, those guys better be ready to come in and play.
Absolutely.
You know, that's for sure. All right. Beyond that, this sort of has like a Darius Slay and Matt Patricia feel to it a little bit. So the Dolphins, short at defensive back because of the Jalen Ramsey injury, they signed Eli Apple. Normally you'd just be like, all right, whatever. There's a long history with Eli Apple and Tyreek Hill. Not big fans of each other. A lot of trash talk, a lot of physicality on the field. These two have gone at it. So they did reach out to Tyreek Hill in advance, and he was on board, but could make for some interesting practices between these two for sure.
I would say iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
If nothing else, Tyreek can make Eli a better player. I don't know how much better Eli can make Tyreek because Tyreek's at the top of his game right now. But again, these guys want to win, and I'm sure they're going to get it in each other's faces during training camp. But when you hit the ground running for real, it's everybody. It's rally around the cause, and the cause down in Miami is we want to make some noise in the AFC, especially in this division. In order to do that, we have to have everybody on page. Tyreek Hill is secure in who he is and what he does.
Yeah.
He's probably the most uncoverable receiver in the game today.
Yep.
No question about it. Tyreek basically helps give them that stable veteran presence on the back end while Ramsey's out. And, of course, when Ramsey comes back and Eli's there, should know the system fully by the time Ramsey comes back. Mm-hmm. That can make the Dolphins back end of their defense that much better. But in terms of, is it okay if we bring this guy in as a professional? You line up and play with and against whoever the organization has structured you for situations like that. Put personal differences aside, and let's see how far we can take this thing.
Absolutely. All right. So I finished up the quarterback documentary over the weekend. I thought it was like we talked about it a little bit. I thought it was really well done. In general, I enjoyed it like fully. We have another quarterback who's turned down this upcoming season's version of it. So, Derek, the total, tell me if I'm missing anybody here. Lamar Jackson's the latest, right? So we know Lamar, Tua, Hurts, Dak, Sam Howell, Stafford. Why do I feel like I'm missing one? Is that it?
I think that covers it. Yeah.
2, 3. So that's 6 that we know of at least that have turned it down. I mean, if you don't have some firepower in there, I don't know that you can do it. And it's a shame because I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. And it was nice primer right before the camp kicked off. I think it's not a matter of I don't think anybody came off looking really bad. I just don't know that these guys want that kind of access in their home and all that other stuff. I just don't think they do.
Especially a younger player.
Yeah.
You look at Lamar Jackson just signed that big contract, and you assume that he's going to spend money his way on family members, maybe himself. Guys don't want you to know what they're buying out there.
Yeah.
I don't blame him. And I'm not saying it's all about the money, but maybe he's taking care of family members. I don't know. Maybe he's just the kind of player he doesn't want his personal life exposed. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
Because just after watching that series, that is a season-long commitment you are to watching your P's and Q's, looking always over your shoulder to see where a boom mic is. It's not natural.
Yeah. I'm with you. I just think, and I don't claim to know him personally, so I'm not saying it from that standpoint, but in being, having this kind of close eye on Jalen Hurts, he's not that kind of guy where he wants that kind of intrusion in his life. He's just not. He's about ball, and I think he wants to maintain his private life and keep it private. And I don't fault the guy.
I don't blame him. I'm not letting anybody in my house if I don't know you.
Yeah.
Why would I? My house is a 3-ring circus. I don't need to reveal that to the general public.
Yeah.
To see certain things. Maybe there's certain things they don't want you to see in their homes.
Exactly.
But I think across the board, it comes down to, man, I don't want cameras following me from the end of training camp through a 17-game regular season and possibly deep into the playoffs, what Kansas City did last year.
Yeah.
I don't want that kind of headache.
Nope. Don't either. No update on Bosa. Nick Bosa still holding out. John Lynch said not to worry. These things take care of themselves, but he wants a new deal. He is not in 49ers camp.
Right.
We'll see where that goes. My guess is he'll eat the fines up until it gets real, and he's not going to eat game checks. So if they don't get anything done, he'll play week 1. Sony Michel retired.
Which defeats the purpose, because if you're giving them game, if you're getting fined, it's what, $50, $50,000, $40,000 practice.
Mm-hmm.
You're giving up a lot of money just to come back eventually anyway. Listen,
I'm with you. I wouldn't do it.
And then you run the fear factor of being out of shape, and we've seen it happen before. Guys who come back late in the training camps, all of a sudden you have a devastating injury leading into that first game of the season.
Yep.
I don't care how much you practice on your own. Mm-hmm. You need to be in there getting team practice shape.
Yeah. Yep.
Timing, rhythm, everything.
I agree with you. All right. So Tone, if you could please pull the Kelly Green jerseys back up again. That was kind of the big story of the day, was people camping out literally at 3 a.m. for an 8 a.m. Opening of the team stores in South Philly at Lincoln Financial Field, in South Jersey, and in Lancaster as well. Mm. So here's the dates, Derek. We know that they're going to be wearing the Kelly Green. It's going to be Monday night. There's 2 home games. 2 home games they'll be wearing them. Week 7, Sunday night game against the Dolphins. That's October 22nd. Okay. And then week 12 against the Bills. That's November 26th. So 2 AFC East opponents, the Dolphins on October 22nd.
Yep.
And the Bills November 26th. That's when they're going to be wearing the Kelly Greens, as you can see, with Jake Elliott right there. Now I'll accept Jake Elliott on there. What I wouldn't accept is Aaron Stipos on there. Correct.
Come on.
Okay.
Sure. Come on,
Josh
Tone,
Sweat, yes. Skinny Batman, yes. You guys all deserve it.
Come on, Tone.
No.
Tone, find that Sipos.
Tone, you better not find a Sipos.
Come on, okay. Tone. You can do it.
Yes.
You can do it, Tone.
Totally unacceptable.
I have faith in you, Tone. Find that
These 2, by the way, are pretty funny. They used to be roommates. Do you see Goddard and Avonte Maddox are always together. They go to Wawa together. Yep. They're pretty funny. There's the big man, Jordan Mailata.
Yep.
Yeah. So Bradbury. So all looking good in their new jerseys. But yeah, so we know the dates. So if you're going to those games, you want to be repping week 7, Sunday night Dolphins, week 12 against the Bills. That's during that Bills is during that really tough stretch that they have of games coming out of the bye week. So be wearing your gear there for sure. You still see the Kelly Greens from the old school Kelly Greens, Randall's Kelly Green. Absolutely. And that kind of stuff. Seth. Yes. Reggie. Exactly right. Yeah. So that's pretty cool altogether. I did in passing. I mentioned. Thanks, Tone. I appreciate it, man. There's Avonte and BG.
Mr. Taz says Rob Ellis is in truth Sippo's biggest fan.
It's true.
I agree with you, Mr. Taz. I really
It's all a front. It's all a cover up. I love him.
Yep.
I hope he's back. Yep.
Rob gets an Emmy for daytime acting.
Yeah, that's right. Sony Michel did retire. I wanted to throw that in there too.
Yep.
He was he was sort of at the end anyway. And Ezekiel Elliott, as we mentioned, visited the Patriots. Look, the value to me in Ezekiel Elliott is short yardage, goal line, and he can pass protect. So if you have him in there in third downs, he's a good guy to give Mac Jones, who's the most mobile guy in the world, maybe a little bit of time or a little bit of extra time.
I agree. I just want to see all this stuff come together, man. You can write a book on what's to come on this season.
Okay. Yes, you can.
Good across the board. I mean, we talked on the show meeting this morning. When was the last time we just had a slam dunk, just slew of topics to talk about?
Yeah. Like when I was, when I was doing it this morning, I'm like, boy, there's a lot of good stuff that on normal days I would have in there. I don't even have it in. because we don't have enough time. There's that many NFL storylines already, and we haven't even played a freaking preseason game. They've been in camp, some of them, for less than a week. Think about that.
Oh, now here's another one. This is great. I'm looking at Gigi talking right now. Would you prefer to see the Kelly Greens in a daylight or a night game? Now, we talked about both of these games are night games, right?
Right.
The Dolphins Bills. Do you think they would pop better if it was a day game?
Oh, boy. I probably prefer day, actually, Gigi. Yeah, I'd probably go day.
Steven Tone says day game.
Yeah, I think I prefer the day. Yeah. Well, but Buffalo is 425. It's gonna be pretty dark at that point.
It's gonna be dark then.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. I know. Yeah, you're right. Well, if you're down there early to tailgate, it'll be sunny at least. But I think what it's done too is they have the dates are not a coincidence, in my opinion. Right?
Okay.
You want to get them out early enough and seen early enough so they can have a big Christmas rush, don't you?
Exactly.
Yeah. October and November, is what we're looking at here.
And they're going to make great Christmas gifts for people.
Yeah. Oh, big time. Yeah, big time. No question about it.
I might even buy you one for Christmas.
All right. Well, who should I get? I'd probably go Hurts. Yeah, I'd probably go Hurts.
Would you go Hurts?
Yeah. I would go Hurts, Devontae Smith, because I like the single digit with Hurts 1 and Devontae 6. I would go AJ Brown too.
Okay.
With the 11.
Yeah, I got to go with my boy BG. I like the double fives.
Can't go wrong with
You got to go with my boy BG. After that one, I don't care.
All right. If we were doing guests on the show, we'd go BG,
Lane.
Kelsey, Lane. So we'd have to go 55, 62, or 65.
Would you go Kelsey before Lane or after Lane?
I go Lane before. I'm a huge Lane guy.
Okay.
I go Lane. Yeah.
I'm with
65. I'd be rocking a 65 out there. I agree with Gigi. The 24 does look really cool on Bradbury. I got to say, it does look good. It's a good number. It's a good football number too, 24. But yeah, these guys are all saying I have to go Sippos. So maybe I go Sippos, Derek.
See? Oh, and Rob, because of how I feel for you, I'm willing to buy you a Sippos Kelly Green for Christmas.
No, thank you. I appreciate the gesture, but no. Nope.
Wow. You're turning down a free Kelly Green?
Mm-hmm. Yes. I'm getting you know what? Kevin Savard said I have to go 0 to match my Cheerios. That's a good point.
That's not bad.
It could be Swift and Cheerios.
That is not bad at all.
That's not bad. Yes.
Oh,
Goddard's 88 looks good. Tone's right about that. The 88 does look cool. Yep.
I think anytime you have double numbers like 22, 33, 55, 88, those numbers look sharp.
I agree. Yep.
But I wish I'm done. I'm done talking about the Kelly Green because I know it's a sensitive topic with some of our chat family and other people out there. So I'm done. I'm done talking about the Kelly Green.
Okay.
I give it up.
Okay. Let's come back and we'll do a bunch of things. We haven't even gotten to some of the trades that are happening in Major League Baseball. We still have our birthdays to get to, our movies to get to. We got a lot of ground to cover over the course of the last segment of the show. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. He's Derek Gunn. I am Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Right back.
you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Google TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
For the big story on Action News,
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, did you know I was the mommy slam dunk champion?
Really?
Yes, really, don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, go to left, fake 'em out. Mama, go up, up, up.
She did it.
again.
You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
EAGLES. Eagles.
All right, we're back. Thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. That's Derek Gunn.
Yo.
I am Rob Ellis. Yeah, so Eagles, let me give you the camp schedule too, because I know some people were wondering what that looks like going forward here, Derek. And we mentioned a little bit earlier, today was a walkthrough, and then tomorrow, reportedly, we'll have the pads on. Brian Johnson will meet with the media at 9:40 before practice starts. Then they'll practice at 10. Off day Wednesday. Thursday back at it. Nick Sirianni meets with the press. Friday, Michael Clay meets with the press. Practice. Saturday walk. I was waiting. I know I wasn't going to get right past that before you said something. Yeah. So that's kind of where things are right now. And then if you remember, Sunday is the open practice, Gunner. It's coming up 6 days from now. That's the open practice. So that'll be 7:00 at Lincoln Financial Field, and then they're off the next day. But yeah, so at it, and then off the following day with the on day tomorrow. So they're supposed to be in pads.
So pads tomorrow. So let me present this to you, Mr. Ellis.
Yes, sir.
Back in the day, and
Yep.
I mean back in the late 90s, early 2000s, when we all worked together.
Yes.
When we said, man, first day of pads. Remember we'd be in the office and everybody was like grinning like Cheshire Cats, man, because we knew there was some thumping coming.
Yes.
What has being in pads meant to you? The first day of being in pads meant recently. It's like, wait a minute, that's it?
It's all fast. Like when we used to go with Andy up at Lehigh when it was Andy Reid. It would be 2 a days, and they would go at it. I mean, hard. I mean, everything, fights. It would be knockdown dragouts. It really would.
Hatfields and the McCoys.
Yeah, and Andy runs still to this day as hard a camp as you can run with all the rules now.
Yeah,
he still takes them away to wherever they end up going. I forget, but anyway, he still goes away. I think he goes away for 30 days altogether, and they push it to the max. Whereas the Eagles have valued, and it's worked for them. Okay, but the Eagles have valued. Less is more. They prefer more film study, more time inside, working in their position groups and that kind of stuff, rather than on the field. But Andy's not that way.
No. Andy Reid is old school until the day he's forced out of the game or rides off into the sunset of his own, and he's going to push that envelope no matter what restrictions are put on a training camp. He's going to get the most out of them to have them as mentally tough as possible. Hey, Mr. Taz says I should get Rob a Christian Ellis jersey. What do you think?
You know what? Yes. Yeah. All we have to do, we have to just convince, and I agree, Mr. Taz, we just have to convince Christian to take that one S off. And then or I put an S on. I don't know, one or the other.
Well, see, here's the way I see it, Rob.
Yes.
If you're going to spend that kind of money on a jersey, you want a jersey that's going to have some relevance for at least a few years. Like, Jalen Hurts is not going anywhere for a while.
True.
Lane Johnson's going to be here for a while. Kelsey, I don't know. Well, Kelsey's still going to be a household.
You can always wear it like people wear Dawkins jersey to this day. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It's got to be somebody with staying power.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I said Devontae Smith, I think, works.
Yeah.
AJ Brown works. Goddard works. Hassan Reddick's deal is relatively short, unfortunately.
Yeah, see.
And that's a good single digit. That's a 7. Man, who else? Who else would be a good one? I mean, I don't know.
Wow.
Lane Dickerson, I don't know. I love him. Love the guy as a player. I'm not really looking to rock a Lane Dickerson jersey.
No.
Atlanta Dickerson, I mean.
Well, see, our guy, Elliot Shore Parks, just put this out there. He says, here's my official Eagles Kelly Green jersey purchasing guide after seeing them in person. There are 2 types. For $175, the non-authentic but stitched on logo and numbers. The $130 replica screen printed on. I would advise going with the $130. I think the fit is better and the collar is better. The $175 has a larger collar, is the Kelsey pick. $130 collar is the Reddick pick if you want to look at the different collars. I don't think it's worth the extra $45, and honestly, the $130 might be just better overall. As for sizing, I definitely think the $130 runs a bit on the bigger side. The $175 are more true to size. That's a lot to think about, man. See, I don't need a game jersey that bad. I don't want to go through all that.
Well, the other thing is, like, and you better have some bucks too. They're not cheap. So, but the thing is, if you're going to get use out of it, hey man, you wearing it every Sunday, whatever, great.
Yeah.
But you can go. That's the thing. You can go legend. Like, it doesn't hurt you to get a Kelsey because you can always wear the Kelsey. It doesn't hurt you to go. I think, in my opinion, Lane Johnson. I think both guys are going to be Hall of Famers. Yeah, look, if you're a big Fletcher Cox fan, I mean, he's but one of the best Eagles that have ever played. As much as people get nuts with Fletcher Cox, he is that guy.
If I'm getting a Kelly Green throwback and I'm paying $175 or $130 for it, I'm going back into the archives. I want a Reggie White.
Yeah.
I want a Jerome Brown.
Yep.
I want a Clyde Simmons. I want a Seth Joyner. I want to go back that far. I'm not attached to it as much with the modern day player as I would be with if it was one of those historical names on the back of there. But somebody said it earlier in the chat. I don't need to buy a jersey and I'm wearing somebody else's name on the back of my neck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you.
I don't do it,
GG throws a good one. I mean, I think Jalen Carter is going to be a beast. So that's probably a pretty good investment.
Could be. Yeah. Could be.
Not
He'll be here at least 5 years, 4 years, 5 years.
Right. And if he's not, something really went wrong. If he's gone after the first one, that's a big concern. All right. So a couple things. The Mets GM, Derek, is calling this a repurposing. Okay.
What does that mean?
Not a retool, not a fire sale, repurposing. So they've traded Max Scherzer to the Rangers, and they're eating most of that money, by the way.
Yeah.
He's gone. They earlier traded, you remember, David Robertson to the Marlins, who the Phillies could face tonight, by the way.
Which Scherzer, by the way, was very unhappy with it. And he said he went in the office the next day to talk to management, and all of a sudden, he's gone.
Yeah, and that was what was interesting was Verlander pitched yesterday, and he talked after the game, and he has a no-trade clause, so he can determine whether he goes or not. But he was like, if you would ask me this, 2 months back, said no way. He's like, you know what? I got to think about it. It sounds like he's, greasing the path here for him to be out of there too. We'll see.
When you consider the money they spent to bring this team together and look at how they've underachieved,
it feels like a dream team, an Eagles version of the dream team, Mets
especially
version.
pitchers.
Yeah,
And look at how they've bottomed out. That's a lot of egg in your face to eat, my man.
It's a bad look. So the Rangers are going all in. The Rangers acquired Scherzer. They got Jordan Montgomery, the left-hander from the Cardinals yesterday. They're making a real push, and they've been doing this. Like, they've been spending a ton and they spent, a lot. Now, I get it from their standpoint. I mean, you know where they are? They've had a good year. They're 60-46, but they're only one game up on the Astros. They're in a tough division.
Yeah, they are.
You never count Houston out. Not with their playoff experience.
If it comes down to it, I can't wait to see a series between Texas and Houston.
That would be nice.
Let me tell you something. With this revamped Texas pitching staff now, going up against the defending champs, and like you said, you couldn't have put it any better. We know what Houston is in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely be worthy of watching that series. There's no doubt in my mind. That would be a phenomenal series. Both teams outstanding, pitching, hitting. I would love to see it.
Yes. All right. So beyond that, trade deadline tomorrow at 6 p.m. Give me your gut, Derek. I don't necessarily need a name. Give me your gut on position or positions that the Phillies acquire.
You got me. I'm still gonna stick with a pitcher because the pitching staff has really let them down. Even Kimbrel now starting to show signs of breaking down. Hasn't been as sharp. Hasn't been as dominating as last 3 outings.
He's leaking oil a little bit.
He's leaking oil a little bit. I'm still gonna lean towards pitching first and then hitting second, because I can't for the life of me believe that this team from 1 through 9, well, I shouldn't say 1 through 9, but the big money players cannot continue this trend the entire season. At some point, they have to come out of this. There's too much money involved. Their stats through the years speak for themselves. That's why they're making this kind of money.
Mm-hmm.
But I just can't believe it's going to happen. So I think, Christopher Reyes says trade Harper and Aaron Nola. Wishful thinking, that's not going to happen.
I think it's going to be I think they're going to get 2 things. I think they're going to get a relief arm, probably a righty, and an outfielder with some pop, hopefully a right-handed bat. I think they're going to get both. Dave Dombrowski's very aggressive, and I think he'll show you that it's going to happen. So I see it happening. I think they're going to get both. Not huge names. It's not going to be like we've seen a bunch of guys, like the Cubs aren't trading Bellinger. We know the Angels aren't trading Ohtani. Arenado's not going to get dealt from the Cardinals.
Nope.
It's not going to be a name where you're like, oh my God, they got who? But it'll be someone who will help them. That's what I think.
Speaking of names, we didn't even mention Aaron Nola, what he did on Saturday.
Oh.
And can we just now agree? Rest in peace, Aaron Nola. Your season's done. What you did, 9 hits to the Pirates.
He is, Derek. Is there anything more confounding than somebody who can deal the night, the start before, and then look as bad as he looks the next start? Nope. I don't understand it.
And what's he giving up now? 24 homers?
Yeah. Leads the league.
Really? I mean, you got jacked up by the Pirates?
Yeah. And it was like non-competitive stuff.
No.
Like man, he is, you can't figure him out. He's a total mystery.
Can we just do a eulogy for him now?
Yeah. Eulogy for all the money he's blowing too.
Would you consider trading Aaron Nola right now?
Here's why I wouldn't. Not that he doesn't drive me crazy, does. I don't feel like they have anybody, unless you're giving me back like something serious here. I don't think they have. I don't think they can survive. The thing with him, at least you can plug him in. He's going to go 6 innings usually.
Yeah, but there's not a smart GM on the planet that would trade you quality for Aaron Nola right now, because you make that move, you're not going to have a job much longer.
Yeah, and Anthony makes a really good point. He obviously he means and he followed it up compared, but it does feel like Hamels in 09 where he just whatever, like the extra work last year caught up to him. I don't know. It's whatever the case, it's not good for sure. All right, let's do some birthdays. You ready?
The birthdays. Let's get there. All right.
58 years old today is J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series. She is one rich woman off of Harry Potter, that's for sure, among the other stuff she's written. Good for her. 28 years old, Lil Uzi Vert, who was born in Philadelphia. He is 28 today. Mark Cuban, owner of the Mavericks, is 65, among other things that he's in business endeavors.
Speaking of Mark Cuban, did you know that he was instrumental in starting what is now known as streaming service?
Yeah, he was ahead of his time with internet tech, any kind of internet tech. He was way ahead of it.
I saw recently he was asked, how did you come up with this? He went to Indiana University, and then after Indiana University moved to Texas.
Right.
And he wanted to be able to see Indiana Hoosiers basketball games.
Okay.
So him and a friend of him came up with this idea of being able to listen to the Indiana games whenever they wanted to, which was basically the primitive version of streaming.
Yeah.
And then when it took off, he sold it within a year or two. He sold it to Yahoo for $6.5 billion.
Oh my God.
And then turned around and bought the Mavericks for $285 million.
Man.
And now everything he does now is helping people develop. He's so into tech. That's why he's on that show Shark Tank.
Yeah.
He's big into grabbing a piece of somebody developing something tech-wise. I mean, that's a big risk. But when you've done what he's done and you've making the kind of money he's made, it's a drop in the bucket.
That's really incredible. You're right. It's a great point. Wesley Snipes, 61 years old.
Oh, man. Blade.
Yes. I was waiting for one of your lines to come from one of your favorites, man. Come on. No? All right.
You know what? Pat him down. And if he moves, lullaby his
bleep. Yes. Good job. Dean Cain, the actor, is 57 years old today. Unfortunately, Jose Fernandez, who we lost way too young in that boating accident, the pitcher, was born on this day in 1992. Sad. Ted Cassidy, who played Lurch in the Addams Family.
You rang,
sir. Was born in 1932. Barry Van Dyke. Think about this. This is Dick Van Dyke's son. Okay. He's 72, the son. You're getting up there when you have a 72-year-old son. But yes, he's 72. BJ Novak from The Office is 44 today. AJ Green, excellent receiver for a very long time in the NFL, is 35 years old today. Fatboy Slim, the DJ and hip hop artist, is 60. Annie Parisi, who was in Law and Order.
Law and Order,
yeah, 48 today. Kevin Green, the late Kevin Green, who was a man. You probably covered him in his Pittsburgh years. Was born on this day, 1962. What a shame. I lost him way too early. James Jordan, Michael Jordan's father, speaking of, born on this day in 1936. DeMarcus Ware, former Cowboy, 41 years old.
138 and a half sacks.
Unbelievable career. Ben Chaplin, the actor, is 53 today. Kurt Gowdy, the late, great broadcaster.
Yes.
Pro's pro. Didn't matter what sport it was. The guy was a machine. 1919, he was born. You have Jenny Malkin, Pittsburgh Pirate or Penguin, excuse me. He's 37 years old. That's all I have for birthdays. You have any other birthdays?
Zelda Williams, who's an actress and a daughter of Robin Williams, is 34 today.
Okay.
Let's see what Jake Fromm, former NFL quarterback, is 25. Oh, he's still in the NFL with Washington, I believe. He's 25 today.
Yep.
Susan Flannery from The Bold and the Beautiful and Days of Our Lives, 84 today. Tim Couch, former quarterback in the NFL, is 46. Nick Bollettieri, the great tennis
coach. Yeah.
Yeah, worked with the likes of Andre Agassi, Monica Seles, Maria Sharapova, Annika Kournikova, and Boris Becker.
Yep.
Born on this day in 1931.
Mm-hmm.
See who else we got out here today. Former quarterback Andre Ware is 55 today.
Heisman Trophy winner.
Wow. Brian Arakpo, former linebacker with the Washington football team, 37.
Yep.
Gabe Kapler, manager of the Giants, 48.
Wow. Okay.
Former NFL quarterback who won the Heisman at Florida State, Chris Weinke, is 51.
Yep.
Gus Farad is 52.
Hmm.
One of the greatest offensive linemen ever played the game. Jonathan Ogden is 49 on this day, Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Defensive end of Tampa, William Golston, is 32 today.
Okay. All right. Good ones. Yeah. All right. Let's go movies. Hang 'em High, Clint Eastwood, 1968.
One of my favorite Westerns, man.
Classic. Hot Shots, which was the takeoff of Top Gun with Charlie Sheen and crew, 1991. The Dark Tower from 2017. Yep. Good one there. Funny People with Adam Sandler, 2009. Death Becomes Her, 1992. The Collector, 2009. Mission Impossible Rogue Nation in 2015. The Lost Boys from 1987.
Lost Boys is a good movie.
It was good. Kiefer Sutherland, and crew. And Ever After, 1998. Got any other ones?
Smurfs 2, 2013. Remember that movie, the comedy Basketball?
Yes. Yeah, it was the I think the South Park people did it.
Yeah. came out in 1998. And one of your favorites came out in 2016, Sharknado, The Fourth Awakens.
The fourth. Unbelievable. There's 4 of those things, mate. Oh, my God. All right. So like we said, Eagles back at practice tomorrow. They will have the pads on, we think. So we'll dive into that hard, that's for sure, and hit everything else. Phillies recapping game 1 against the Marlins. They need to get this one, especially coming off the way the last 2 games, in particular yesterday went, that's for sure. We'll hit all those things. And of course, there's so much going on in the NFL that we will just continue to keep you posted on. So we'll do all those kind of things and more. All right. Want to thank Tone DeShields. Tone, great job, man, producing the program. As always, we do appreciate your help.
Tone.
Yep. Coming up, National Football Show with Dan Cilio. So don't go anywhere. Dan's got you for the next 3 hours. Everybody, listen, enjoy the rest of your Monday. For Derek Gunn, I am Rob Ellis. We appreciate you hanging out with us on this Monday. And tomorrow we turn the calendar, man. August 1st. We're looking forward to hanging out with you. Same bat time, same bat channel. Yes, thank you.